Hello and welcome to unMadeGaming. Oh, today is a day. We're back on Sunday for Symbaroum here on the unMadeGaming channel. We're back for our dark fantasy gritty fun game where we get to watch flesh be torn asunder and people turn into monsters and everyone has fun. And sometimes bugs crawl out of your skin, so, you know, whatever. So let's go around and introduce our players and cast here. We'll start with Mr. Ninja. You seem like you're prepared. Who are you? What are you doing here? And who are you playing today?
I'm always prepared.
Roll.
I am Mr. Ninja. I run a gaming channel. I've been doing more D&D stuff on this channel. We just finished up one on Hello Swedish channel. And I can hear myself because it's on stream and it's real distracting and I didn't mute it yet. Is that what I sound like? That's all I got.
10 10.
I'm excited for tonight. It's going to be great.
Who are you playing today?
I am going to be playing my healing, my cleric-y type character, Nem. I just set up the monitors. I'm not here yet mentally.
All right.
Cool. You should have started on someone else. That's your fault.
Yeah, this is intentional. So we made a few tweaks to Nem, made her more of what Mr. Ninja had envisioned. So I think we'll see some positive changes.
Still just as squishy though.
Still just as squishy.
She's gonna die.
Still likely can't hit anything with her bow and arrow, but we'll see.
It's
definitely not a crossbow for sure. And someone who is afraid to use their magic and still can't hit anything. Hello, sweetie. Who are you? What are you doing here? And who are you playing today?
I am Hello Sweetie 82, and I am here. I don't know why I'm here. Glutton for punishment, I guess. I'm going to be playing Mahdga, who is a barbarian witch who casts spells. But she has to be careful when she casts spells because they corrupt her, and she could turn into a creepy monster.
Also, they're gross and make you ick out.
It's true. It's real yucky. All my spells are disgusting.
Yeah. Also gross and makes you ick out. Kyle, who are you? What are you doing here? And who are you playing today?
I knew that was me when you started.
Love you.
Yeah, I know. I'm Kyle. I'm just real sad right now. I play Jhin Harengol. I'm going to do my best to poke things with my lance and ride my horse. That's all I need to be in life to be happy. So,
to be fair, Jhin does gross everyone out. And I think that's intentional.
Yeah.
Yeah. You did this to yourself.
I did.
Yeah.
I did.
Also a fan of doing things to himself. Mr. Bitters, who are you? What are you doing here? And who are you playing today?
I'm Mr. Bitters. I'll be in my bunk. I hate most everything. I couldn't tell you what right now. Just most everything. I kind of moderate around here, but Frags does all the work, so give him the credit and the paycheck apparently.
Yeah.
But where was I going with this? I'm playing Shale. I'm an ogre, and I'm real strong, and I'm probably the smartest one here. But you'll never know.
That's true. Sweet. So without further ado, previously on the Chronicles of the Copper Crown. While Mahdga and Nem collected the ill-gotten gains of the highwaymen, Sir Jhin Harengol took it upon himself to bring Ambrian justice down on the survivors. Questioning from whom they took their orders, and the use and purpose behind the trinket they were after, when the bandits' words weren't to Jin's liking, his glaive made sure that they would be their last. Returning back to the camp, night fell quickly as Gummy subscribed. Night fell quickly and proved that this was anything but a simple journey to Thistle Hold. And as night fell, screams of pain and surprise rang through the air. Rushing in to lend aid, Jhin found himself staring down the salivating maw of a hunger wolf, bearing down on the Pathfinders Ludo and Bellin. Springing into action with the aid of his allies, the hunger wolf was downed, only to reveal itself as a shape-changed elven woman. Carrying the wounded back to camp, it wasn't long before Ludo divulged his previous deeds that would have surely drawn the ire of the elves, and indeed they did, on the next morn, when two entered the corral and demanded the Pathfinders, but they wouldn't be taken so easily. You guys are standing in the middle of the corral of caravans. You are making plans to turn over Ludo and Bellin, the Pathfinders who have delved too deep and too greedily into the forest of Davokar and retrieved some manner of dark, tainted skull crown. All of the members of their party have died, disappeared, or become different. You have 2 elves in the middle of your corral, and you sent Shale to go retrieve the 2 Pathfinders. One, a severe wound in his leg. The other, his brother, seemingly fine. Both branded traitors, poachers. And it is at that moment you hear, "Oof," as you see Shale get thrown 10 feet across the corral and land in the mud and sort of skid and slide as you hear, "No, I won't be taken." And you see the caravan explode forth, and you see this gangly body of a person who has one massive arm, and just pieces of flesh are slowly peeling off. It sort of grabs its chest and tears more of its skin suit away, and it sort of like flaps against the other caravans. You see just blood and viscera. You can see its muscles flexing as it's moving. You see like its head become grotesque, and thorns and spikes sort of grow out of its skull area, and it just and lumbers towards all of you.
That's my fetish.
What are you guys doing?
I probably would have run towards Shale, wherever he landed, because he got thrown back, correct?
He did get thrown back.
Yeah.
I'll run over to Sheba, because I definitely wasn't on her when I went to go talk to the elves.
Yes.
So go run over to her.
Yes, you realize that you're in a fairly small space, maybe like 20 to 25 feet in all directions in a circle. Just so you know, and it is covered in mud because it just did rain torrentially for several days.
Then I will not go to Sheba.
Okay.
I will run at this thing and at least start to try and corral it away from Shale and company.
With your lance?
Yep, trying to chika.
Like
Basically, because I don't know how badly Shale's hurt, but I imagine I saw Mahdga run over, so I'll try and provide any cover I can.
Nem, what do you do?
She was outside of the carriage, and she had her hand on her crossbow, just in case this thing went, south with the elves. So she would just grab it and kind of follow Jhin and just make sure that he's okay and provide at least a distraction with her shots.
Yeah, before she panics and dies.
Okay.
That's fair.
Shale will probably be pushing himself up off the ground.
Yeah.
It's not usual for someone as big as him to have just been thrown clear like that.
Yeah.
So he's probably a little wild-eyed as he looks around and makes sure Mahdga's all right. She's coming to him. Stay behind me.
Solid clarification.
Starting to worry that you're going to ask her to stay behind the abomination.
So quickly remind me what your quick scores are while I make a document that I never have to ask this question again.
First it's Jhin, and then it's Sweetie and Shale at the same time.
But Jhin is 11,
and then it's
right?
me last.
Jhin
Is 11. Yeah.
The Spanish word for 11, I think it's once.
No one knows that.
Is once.
Hey.
Diez
I
once
paid
doce
attention.
Tracy.
We are tens even.
What's your vigilant, Mahdga and Shale?
Also 10.
Cool. Roll me a d20.
Who? All of us?
Nope, just you two.
All right. That seems... I don't like where this is going.
It's just purely for...
They have the same thing as you.
Well...
yeah, no, it's
already started good.
It also has a 10 in quick and a 10 in vigilant. So I needed to determine who goes first. So we'll go Abomination, Shale, Mahdga, which I always spell wrong.
He also has it. Abominations are people too. Okay?
Are they?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do I go first?
And you do go first. And Nem, what do you have? Is it 9? Is that what it is for quick?
Nem.
Yep.
I'm looking.
Well, I think you have a 10.
I didn't have the page open, so
I
I
think
had
you
to
have a
look.
10, but
Sorry.
you have a low vigilant. That's what it is.
Yeah, it's a 10 and an 8.
Cool. You guys should see a new initiative sheet in your journals that you guys can look at, so we can all keep each other honest. Cool. So, Jhin, you see this thing with like one large hand, sort of like monkeying towards you as it's like clambering through the like splotchy mud. Mud's kind of like splattering everywhere. You see like Shale like trying to get up, confused about what just happened, covered in his backside covered in mud. You're charging through the mud with your glaive out. What are you doing?
I don't get the free attack because the engagement was after the fact, right?
You're entering him. Well, you're entering his threatened area. He's not entering yours.
All right.
Ladies.
Dummies.
Yeah, so I'm going to make a halberd attack on him. I'm basically going to run up and start trying to poke him away from where I saw Shale get knocked to, okay?
Okay. So you have a...
Enemy disadvantage is...
Oh, man. It's a +2.
So I just hit 2.
Just hit
instead of
2.
plus. Yeah. Hey.
Wow. Yeah. So, what does your hit look like?
So what I would be doing is I'd be trying to come from low to try and poke him back. So I'd kind of come in slightly crouch and just starting to poke towards center mass with the halberd.
Okay, so you're just trying to jab, right? Basically,
just jabbing at him to try and force him back either towards the cart or away, at least long enough for everyone to kind of recompose themselves.
Okay, so despite having little to no flesh and mostly exposed muscle and sinew, your glaive takes a large amount of force to jam into this guy. Like you connect with him, you see it like hit, and he still is barreling towards you, and you kind of have to brace yourself and sink into the mud and sort of throw your back into it to even get your halberd maybe a few inches in, and you see it like stick in, and the blood, like this black viscous blood, begins to like leak out of the wound, and this guy seems mostly unfazed by what you're doing.
Oh joy.
Yeah, it hurts him for sure. However, he is going to barrel down towards you, and you see him throw his hands wide, and you see that his fingers, like all 5 human belled fingers, seem to have fused into like 3 massive, like bony protrusion claw almost things, and he just sort of and swings at you. So go ahead and make me a defense -3.
So defense, and then -3.
Yep.
Oh. Indeed.
How many hit points do you have?
Enough?
What's enough?
15?
Okay. You take 11 damage.
And that's my pain threshold is passed.
Yep. So here's what happens when your pain threshold is passed. You can either be prone, and you get to decide. You can be prone, or it takes another attack. Prone is your entire move action to stand.
I'm gonna be prone.
Okay. So this thing and just claws into you. If you're around him, you hear the sound of metal wrenching open as this thing rakes its claws across his breastplate and just cleaves him open like a can opener.
You hear me say,
Good thing we
"Shale,
have-
get up!" I get knocked away.
Shale, I was... Shale, ironically, it's your turn. You just saw this happen.
I think Shale is gonna, like he's gotten up and he's gonna go to charge.
I'm gonna
look
yell
back
at
at
him
Mahdga.
to wait, and could we kind of go at the same time?
Yeah, you guys can go at the same time.
So I'm gonna ask him to wait. I'm gonna drop to the ground and kind of stick my hand into the ground, and I can find like purchase on a handful of larvae, which is what I need for my spell.
Sure.
And I'm just gonna throw out my other hand towards this thing and try to cast maltransformation on it.
Okay.
So I'm going to try to turn it into a squirrel.
Maltransformation. Does that need larva?
A pupa or an egg.
Okay. Cool.
So, yeah.
So resolute -1.
Resolute -1?
Yep.
Okay.
No whammy, no whammy, no whammy, no whammy, no whammy, no whammy, no whammy. Stop! Man.
So you dig your hands into the dirt and you come up with this clump of dirt and you see like wriggling mass of like worms and pupa in there, and you sort of like you squeeze it and it sort of like pusses out your hand, and you sort of open your hand at this guy and cast whatever witchy spell you have for maltransformation, and you feel the energy course through you, and you feel like it would have hit this guy, except whatever magic force exists around this dark abomination almost reflects your spell work off of it. And you see it just like shake its head and then round in for another attack on Jhin. Shale, what do you do?
I imagine he gets the go-ahead at this point. Yeah, he. I think knuckles to the ground, just bounds like twice before he just leaps at the thing, fists flailing. There's the word I was looking for.
So it would be an attack +2.
Are we doing that? There it is. Jeez Louise.
So you just... You're like galloping on your hands and knees towards this guy, and you leap forward and do your monkey smash. And this thing just turns around with one of its big, gangly, massive arm and just sort of like bats you to the side before again rounding back on Jhin. Nem, you see this. You see this thing wrenching open Jin's armor. You see Mahdga panic and begin to use some spell work on this guy. You see Shale run and just get smashed again by this thing. What are you doing?
She's just standing there like an idiot in the background with her weapon.
Like staring. I didn't sign up for this. I wanted to help people. This is the worst.
I can't heal during combat, right?
Right.
Okay, so... Well, that looks bad. We'll revisit this.
Keep your
she's going. Yeah, she's going to take a shot, I guess. She hasn't been having good luck with her crossbow.
Yes.
So she's actually going to use her bow.
Okay.
That was also in her pack.
Sure.
Give me a sec because I don't remember where she is. No whammy, no whammy. What was it? Minus what?
+2. Yeah, you grab your bow out of the thing, you knock an arrow, you get it back, and you're like, you gotta protect your friends, and you fire this thing, and you see the arrow point just spin like dead center mass this guy, and you see the arrow hit, and then you see the shaft of the arrow bend and snap as it hits this guy, and just sort of there's no impact on him. Jhin, what your thoughts here?
I have to get up, right? Does that provoke opportunity?
It does not.
Okay. Oh man, I'm getting up.
Yep.
And I can't move away because that would provoke an attack, right?
You can't move away because your entire movement action is to stand.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. All right. Not much I can do, so I'm gonna fight like a man.
Okay, that's a good plan.
Actually, so here's a question. Never mind. So he's on me because I had attacked from range from my like one extra, but he's moved up to me.
Yes.
Pretty much. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to attack because that is the best I have. So you said it's +2?
Attack is +2, yes.
All right, so 2, and I'm gonna miss. Hey,
you hit him. You
with
did
no
hit him.
damage.
Yeah.
At least one of us can.
How do you slash this guy? You stabbing? Are you piercing? Or you slashing?
So like I kind of like use one arm to prop myself up, and I have the halberd in the other.
Yeah.
And as I'm getting up, I'm like kind of weakly just like flailing at him, trying to like just find something to push him back.
Yeah. and this feels like you're fighting a hardened surface. You're hitting him with the glaive, and you're seeing it rake across his muscly skin, and you're seeing nothing happen. You're seeing no tear in the tendons, no tear in the muscle fibers at all. You're just raking it across. But what you do see is an arrow over like as you're like standing up and like slashing this guy trying to get back. You see an arrow just stick in its like lower whatever postulating abdomen as one of the elves from behind you has joined the fray and appears to be trying to kill this this abomination as well.
It's about time.
It's only been one round.
Listen, we didn't want anything to do with these fucks.
It was a bad round.
Listen,
all right?
It was a bad round.
It's rough for everybody.
What was like that whole time for us was literally 5 seconds of combat, and Nem's like, "What the fuck, God!"
It's like,
no time, jeez.
You guys are the
They're
worst.
dying.
You guys are the worst elves. This is your job. Yeah. So you see one arrow just sort of whip by you and just pierce into this thing. You see it like, and it reaches down and snaps the arrow out of it. And where it rips the arrow out, you can see this viscous, like greenish pussing liquid sort of oozing out of the wound. You're not quite sure if it is the blood of this thing or something else is oozing out of this thing. And then quickly after, you hear this loud roar. In fact, Nem, it makes you double take because you hear the roar of a Baiagan, which is the ancestral companion of your people. So you hear this, and then charging through the camp is this massive bear as it rakes its claws across the abomination. You see it just ripping this thing across. You don't see the second elf anymore. It, however, is the abomination's turn. You see it sort of look at Jhin, and then you see this bear just sort of charge in over you, Jhin, and you just see this monstrous abomination take its big, like, bony incisors and just and cleave into the bear, and it begins pummeling the bear. And you see that you felt what it did to you. You see it doing the same to this bear. Shale, what do you want to do? Or Shale Mahdga, what do you want to do? Schmagda.
Mahdga. That's gross. I think just seeing this thing, continuously attacking everyone and seeing all of our attacks miss, I'm just gonna, steal that, like, hold, just shove my hand into the ground even further, and I'm gonna try to cast Maltransformation one more time.
Okay.
It's still resolute -1.
Yep.
Ah!
Okay, let's see what that does. So, what exactly does Maltransformation do to this monstrosity?
So, for the second, you see this giant abomination, and then just split second, it falls down to the ground and just is a squirrel.
Okay.
Running around on the ground.
Does it...
So if I use Maltransformation, the target stays in that form until the Mystic breaks concentration or fails a resolute test. The test is made each turn on the Mystic's initiative. The harmless animal keeps the target's original attributes, but none of its abilities or powers, and can neither attack nor use items.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, so you grab these grubs again, and you cast this spell, and you see this thing turn into, like, you see it like begin to like shrivel and shrink, and you see it like rejecting the form of this squirrel as like the skin and hair begin to like just molt off the squirrel, and you have this disgusting like fleshy rat monstrosity on the ground, just sort of quivering as the bear is trying to maul at it still. Cool. You do that. Shale, what do you do?
Squash it.
Yeah.
But you can still attack it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think Shale is just gonna start slamming at the ground. This squirrel.
Okay.
It's a real gross squirrel.
It is still +2.
I'm going to use my movement first to flank it.
Okay.
With Jhin, because he's up now.
Mm-hmm.
Barely, but yeah.
To give myself a 0 on that roll. Still miss.
Yep.
It's okay, so we got it surrounded.
So you're like grabbing at this disgusting mutated rodent thing, but it's just like darting between your strikes. Nem, you can barely see this thing. You know that Mahdga did something to it. You can hear her chants. You see this giant bear thing just sort of mauling at the ground. You see Shale punching and grabbing at the ground. What do you want to do?
So I don't have a melee weapon. Can I go over and kick it?
Sure.
What do I roll for that?
You would roll strong.
And then...
Minus... strong +2. Nope, try that again. Just don't put the +2. Just put 2.
Oh. My bad.
Okay, so you just sort of charge in there through the mud. You have your bow in one hand, your quiver is just sort of bouncing around your back, and you kick at this monstrosity, and you deal 1 point of damage to it.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
1 point of damage?
Yeah, you're not trained in melee combat. You're not trained in fisticuffs.
Kicks rocks.
Yeah. Normally, like Bitter's Shale it's 1d4, but he has bonuses to make it higher than that. So
it's
the normal person
second most
untrained,
damage.
That's true.
Done by one of the players.
That's true. That is true. So it goes back. Jhin, you are there. You see this transformation happen before you. You see all the bigger creatures are sort of come down on it. What are you trying to do? You see Nem just sort of running out of nowhere and kick it.
I'm gonna kind of lean left and right and try and just poke it.
Okay.
Like cut it up with the because it's a smaller thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the size of a football.
Yeah, so I don't want to decapitate freaking Nem trying to swing down overhead with it. You know.
Yeah.
That would not be fun. So halberd.
Yep.
2 still.
Yep.
Do I get anything extra for it being a little whiny baby?
You
squirrel?
don't, because unfortunately it keeps all of its stats. It just can't attack you.
At least I now own the first and second place for damage.
That's true. That's true. You do. So you cleave down on this thing, and despite it being a tiny, squirming rat monster, you hit this thing, and you feel a solid hit. And you expect your glaive to just cleave this squirrel thing right in half, and it doesn't. You feel it hit something solid, and you have to force it down, but you see more of this ichor start to ooze out of where your blade strikes.
Fun.
It can't attack, so Mahdga.
Does it flare around on the ground like a little?
It doesn't.
Janky?
It seems to just be squirming and want to get out of this small, terrifyingly awful form.
So I think Mahdga would have to make a check. Yeah?
Mahdga doesn't make a check. Make a
But I
resolute
think
minus
since we go at the same time, I'm going to take advantage.
1. Okay.
And I'm flanking. If not, I can use my move to flank again.
Yeah, you said you were. Yeah, you. So you. Yeah, I didn't get to do it every. I don't know. I'll read those again. But you flank. You're not going anywhere.
I think Shale's gonna use his big strangling hands to
Okay.
try and get a hold of this squirrel now.
Let's see what happens.
Hey.
Do you get bonuses?
Yeah, there's some of this as well for.
Okay.
So that's 9 that ignores armor.
Is there one more? Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, that includes all of his bonuses.
Ooh, 9 that ignores armor. Interesting. Okay.
Pain threshold, pain threshold, pain threshold.
I think you actually did hit this pain threshold, but more importantly, you hit its life. So describe to me what happens when you squeeze this rodent abomination.
Yeah, I think Shale picks it up, it's footballish. His hands are also footballish.
Mm-hmm.
So he's just squeezing and watching the life drain out of it, but he doesn't seem to be enjoying it. Just doing what needs to be done. Like popping a pimple.
Gross.
Yeah.
That is gross. Yeah, so you sort of just grab this thing and it just sort of around everybody gets a little piece of it on them. It's pretty gross. Yeah, everyone but Mahdga gets a little bit of abomination on them. And you see far more, as Mahdga breaks her concentration on the spell, you just see and then you see far more viscera than you expected, as in your hand just chunks of flesh are resizing back to normal, and the blood spray is like
a blood grenade.
Yeah. So everyone is sufficiently coated in this black, viscous, disgustingly smelling, just ichor from this thing. And you see the bear just sort of lurch back and rear, and then you see it and sort of shifts back into an elf that is now standing before you.
Where's the other brother?
He had a fucked up leg and is laying in the back of a cart, you hope.
Okay. Nem's gonna check.
Okay. Yeah, so the bear just sort of shifts back down to elf form. Nem, you head off to go to the now mostly shattered caravan. Shale and Jhin, you are on the scene. What are you doing?
Shale has what's left of this guy in his hands. And he's just kind of almost reverently offering it out to the elves.
Mm-hmm. Because it's the right thing to do?
Yeah.
Okay. Jhin, this is your first experience with anything... First of all, this is your first experience with elves, which you thought you were handling pretty well. This is for sure your first experience with, corruption, magic, and whatever the hell that was. How you doing?
Jhin, so regardless of all that, he's not doing well. After the fight, he'd kind of sit down on his ass, just kind of plop down, and then just fall to his back, fall on his back. He doesn't care how muddy it is.
Yep.
He's just there, kind of breathing heavily. His armor is he's trying to peel it off because it's compressed and pressed into his chest, so he's having trouble breathing. And his halberd just kind of drops off to the side, and he's just kind of struggling with his armor for a few minutes.
Okay. Mahdga, you see Jhin just kind of fall to the side, and you can see that he's dazed, and you see from your angle, you see that his armor is just rent open, and you see Shale just sort of holding chunks of disgustingness and offering it towards the elves. What do you do?
How am I close enough to Jhin that I can actually get to him and kind of kneel down?
You can get there.
Yeah, so I'll kneel down and I'll say, "Are you okay?"
Surviving.
I'll look up and see Shale with his, gross hands out.
I made a mess.
His disgusting offering.
I'll look up the Shale and be like, "How you holding up, big man?"
As you're bleeding out. As your insides are visible.
Yep.
I'll look towards the elves and just, motion towards Shale. Is this something that you need?
You see the elf who is still adjusting his bones, I guess, from the fact that he was just a giant bear. And he looks down and says, "It is not."
Shale, you can clean your hands off, big boy. You can wash that off.
I will.
Gross. Nem, you are headed back towards the caravan that exploded open. What are you looking for?
The guy, the other brother, the other person that he would want, because it was both of them.
Okay, roll me vigilant.
Oh boy. With what?
Just vigilant.
Oh, where'd it go? I'm looking
so,
in the wrong caravan, wrong car.
Yeah. You're looking at the one next to it. One's all exploded open, the other one's fine, and you're like, you must be in that one. So you... How mean do I want to be? So you see bits and pieces of, the inner contents of this thing just sort of destroyed. You see, disgusting amounts of flesh on this thing. Like the guy, like when he was belling, his flesh was peeling off. You see like a piece of his face, like the whole half of face, just sort of sitting there. You see shattered wood from the caravan, from the wagon itself, torn fabric. The contents are kind of everywhere. You see various weaponry, and you don't see Ludo in the cart itself.
Okay. She would go over to Jhin to start healing him, and just talking to the group. It should be like I don't see the other one. He's not in the cart. We have to go look for him. And she'll look over to the elves while I'm going to roll the heal.
Okay. You see the bear elf look to the archer elf and nod, and the archer elf sort of takes off in the direction you came from.
Okay. I'm going to run, I guess. Any disadvantage or anything? Just straight roll?
Nope, just straight roll. Okay, so you go to apply pressure and medicinal herbs to Jhin, except it looks as though, like, he's taken a big hit. Like, this is going to need some stitches. This is going to need some work on it. This is not going to be a quick, easy fix. This is going to take hours of time. You are able to, like, get him off the battlefield and, like, sort of address his wounds. Like, you unbuckle his armor, you take the chest plate off, you sort of stabilize him, and you begin prepping him to be worked on, but he's going to need some work. So, Jhin, you don't heal anything, but you're also not dying. You're just in great amount of pain.
There you go.
What time of day is it?
Like, it was morning when the two elves arrived, so, like, mid-morning, maybe like 9 or 10. You guys were about to break camp and move on. So morning time. Mahdga and Shale, you see that Nem is likely distraught with the fact that with how bad this wound is now that she's up close to it. What are the two of you doing?
I imagine I'm probably helping Shale, kind of clean himself off as best I can. Are there still elves near us?
There is an elf standing with you. Yep, there's the elf that was a bear is standing with you. The other one kind of walked off towards the caravan.
Okay, so I'll turn to that elf, and I'll say, do you have need of us anymore? The men that you wanted, I mean, obviously one is dead. The other one has run off. Do you need anything else from us?
He looks to you. He looks to you, and he says, "Do you have a companion?"
Oh, is this the companion? Do we still have
I know you would assume. It's not many elves you've seen today.
Do we still have the body? I forget what we... Okay.
We were going to take it.
If Nem heard that, she would go get it.
We, unfortunately, these two men were in the forest being attacked by your friend, who was wolf at the time, was in wolf form at the time, and he did get killed in the woods. We did want to bring his body to you because I know that in elf, whatever that it's
I would probably know that.
You can both roll me to know that you would bring a dead elf back to elves.
Yes, I feel like that's if you bring it to their family. Like, I feel like that's a known thing.
But also, didn't they? No? Weren't we told to bring it as well? Like we were told by Lady in Black, didn't?
No, she said she was going to take it. I think.
Okay.
You can both roll me cunning if you'd like.
Cunning?
Yeah.
Okay. Just straight cunning roll.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah. So you would both know. First of all, you would both know that you've never seen an elf, and you've never seen a dead one. So you're not really sure what their practices and customs are, but you know that leaving them in a festering heap was probably a bad choice. So collecting them and like giving them at least whatever your proper burial might be is good, or returning them back to their people or something like that is a fine thing for outsiders to do.
Yeah, so I'll just, we thought it disrespectful not to bring him with us in order to find a decent resting place. So we do have him with us if you'd like to find that decent resting place.
He sort of nods to you, and like, Nem, did you say you sort of leave Jhin and go retrieve the body once you hear people talking about it?
Yeah, she would go motion to Shale to like help her grab it because she's tiny.
Okay, Shale, do you assist in grabbing this corpse?
Yeah, he doesn't feel. He feels Mahdga's got this situation well in hand, so he'll go lift things. It's what he do.
Yeah, so the two of you sort of go off. Is there any conversation the two of you have in passing while you're getting this elf corpse?
Maybe a little. He does not look good.
Nem would. Do you think the elf could heal Jhin? He helped fight it. We didn't have to. Should I ask?
Everyone's gifts are different. If he could help, he would.
He was barely helpful. And then she'll walk over and she's going to ask the elf if he'll...
Shale feels like puns were just invented and he's not sure if he gets it.
It went over his head.
I'm done.
The abomination comes back to life. The one that had the bad leg, turns out he was just crawling away, and he comes back.
That's what you were gonna do, wasn't it?
He goes back to life too. No. So you go over to ask the elf for assistance
while he's bringing the body. As he's bringing the body.
Okay. What do you say?
I've tried to heal our friend, but he's going to need time to rest. Is there anything that you can do? I hate to ask, but he doesn't look great.
So he reaches into like he's wearing like leather. He reaches into his leathers and begins pulling something out as Shale sort of comes over with the body. Shale, what do you do with the body?
Probably a whole lot like the grossness that was on his hands earlier. He'd approach with it pretty reverently, taking care to support it and whatnot, but still wrapped in its shroud that we'd come up with.
Yeah.
And kind of just lay it at the elf's feet.
So as you're laying it down, he sort of like puts an arm over it, like while you're like bringing it down, and sort of like heaves the body onto his own shoulder as his other arm comes out, and he deposits to Nem a small like poultice as he just holds out this thing to you, and he doesn't actually look at you, Nem. He hands this to you the entire time looking at Shale, releases it into your hand, nods to Shale, and says, "You would do well to choose your friends better, kin." And then he turns and begins to walk after the other elf.
Can I apply that now? Can I go back and apply that to Jhin?
Yeah. It's a healing herbal cure, plus you have Medicus. So
should I just do alchemy? Is that...
you already have it. Alchemy just lets you make a new one. You already have it. He just gave you an herbal cure.
So I just do Medicus, and if it works, it's the higher...
Yeah.
It's a D8?
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, yeah!
Cool. So roll 1d8, and that is what you heal Jhin.
Oh boy, maybe you should roll it. Hey, suck it!
There you go. Nailed it.
Got you, buddy.
Nailed it. And that reminds me, guys, if you are feeling generous, you guys can donate for cool things like crits, nat ones, rerolls, and healing poultices for these guys to heal them up, if you so choose, by hitting that donation section down below.
You guys see how brutal this is. I'm just saying.
So, you sort of... you know what? Describe how you apply this elven healing elixir to Jhin.
She's very methodical, but she's very she's getting it out to rub it inside of his wounds a little and then repatch them up. So she'll take off whatever she applied, and she's just kind of like... She's just trying to figure out how they made it, because maybe she could replicate it. Maybe there's something better. Maybe elves are better at this than she is. So she's kind of looking at it and then realizes he's bleeding out or not doing great. So she's like, oh, okay. And then just starts putting it on the wounds and then puts the dressing back on and,
Yeah, I mean, as a rule of thumb, they for sure are better than you at this. But I mean, they also are timeless and have had lots and lots and lots of practice at doing it. So yeah, do you like just dump this in the wound, or you just like kind of stitching?
No,
back
she's
together?
like gently applying it, and then she'll start stitching him a little bit now that she has something in there.
Cool.
Wince here and there as she applies it, and kind of like tell her your service is appreciated.
As you pant heavily and sweat profusely.
Yep.
Turning more and more pallid.
Gotta stay cool.
So so Mahdga and Shale, you are standing in like the middle of this area. There is disgusting everything around you. The mud is all mixed up from all the fighting, and you see this elf is now walking towards the shattered caravan where its ally seems to have disappeared, holding this corpse. What are the two of you doing, or thinking, or feeling?
I feel like definitely internally, Mahdga, having not had any dealings with elves whatsoever, is a bit put off, by the choosing your friends better comment for sure. But I imagine at this point this guy is now their problem.
Uh-huh.
So I imagine she would just look to Shale and say, "Okay, friend, I think it's time for us to get out of here. Should we go check on Nem and Jhin, see how Jhin is doing, and maybe pack up some things and go?"
Shale as well was kind of initially kind of mystified by these elves, and the fact that they considered him kin to a certain degree probably got them their foot in the door. But the instant he spoke about his friends, Shale's countenance turned real sour again.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you are a good friend. I want you to know.
I know.
We will go. I can't speak for them, but
So
the elves are not as smart as they'd like.
I agree.
So Mahdga and Shale, what do you think you would have elder folk knowledge? Would you have studied elves or goblins or trolls at all, either one of you?
For sure, in dealings with the witches' circle, with the hold on, that clan, the barbarian clan, the Zarek clan.
Mm-hmm.
She would for sure have, gone through a lot of that. They're definitely big on history, and they're big on, knowing things about other races, and just because they are sort of the I don't know, like spiritual kind of, the spiritual for the barbarians, the spiritual
leaders. Yep.
There you go, leaders. I don't know why that was really hard. So I feel like, maybe she's not an expert, but she would definitely know some things.
Okay. Yeah, in that case, you would know that the elder folk, as they're called, are elves, trolls, ogres, and goblins. Okay. Some people wrap dwarves into there, but the dwarves are their own weird race of weirdos. No one really deals with the dwarves too much, and you would have little to no knowledge of them. Just that they exist. But you get the sense that that's where the kin comment comes from. That
right.
They are elder folk. They're from like the old times.
Sure.
So that's kind of where you get that, like whether you tell Shale or not, or just kind of bury that down inside. That's where you get a feeling that's where that comment comes from.
And I feel like she would be, I think, a little bit more upset about the comment because she does regard Shale as, she knows where he's from as far as that goes. Mm-hmm. And so for him to assume that, maybe I look at him differently, I think would really upset her. She wouldn't say it out loud, though.
Yeah. So the two of you kind of in your own dour moods move back to the caravan that Mahdga was staying in, where Nem has propped up Jhin and is beginning to sort of delicately pour this salve around his wound and stitch him back up. Jhin, your armor is destroyed. You need to buy new armor or repair your armor. if it is a family heirloom. There could be blacksmiths in Thistle Hold, but you have a huge scar in your armor. Also, the wound in your gut/abdomen will leave a scar, for sure. But you are healing, and you're no longer bleeding out. And Nem, though you may have seen her recent use of arrows, she is much more proficient with a needle and thread and healing poultices, and seems to be aptly putting you back together. Nem, what are you doing when this? So you hear the Shale approach. I think that neither Shale nor Mahdga are talking. They just sort of look down. What do you do as they approach?
She would notice the tension and probably. I'm hoping they find him, so we can have all of that behind us, and we can just keep going until we get to where we need to go. Do one of you guys want to go talk and see what's going on, if we can keep going, or if we're going to stay, or, he's in no shape to get up right now. So we just,
I'll be fine. He says from the ground.
She just looks at him and kind of pokes him with her foot.
No.
Not in the hurt part, just in like the arm. Like a shut up. No one asked you. You're finally vulnerable for once. She's taking advantage. She's like, with her foot.
So that means that I wasn't vulnerable before.
I believe
she's gonna get out and walk and then talk to them outside, so you can't talk.
I do believe while you tend to Jhin, Shale and I will go see about leaving this business with Ludo. The elves can handle it from here. I think at this point he's their problem. So I do want to make way to Thistle Hold. Obviously, we'll stay here as long as you feel like he needs to rest. We're okay with that, but we'll go ask around and see how long they were planning on staying anyway. And then I guess Shale and I will actually go make our way towards whoever is around that we know kind of takes care of the caravan stuff.
Caravan Master Argasto.
And then we'll jump back in and start talking to Jhin about other stuff while you guys are...
Okay. I assume you try to move things around in the cart to make him more comfortable for the journey. Shale and Mahdga, you head down through the circle towards the lead wagon, which you know is where Argasto rides. And you see him pacing. You see that there were... So before this whole thing went down, you saw that there were several caravan drivers all in a circle talking to Argasto whether to stay here, whether to go. As you're walking up, you see all of the caravan drivers quickly moving back to their caravans. It seems as though the discussion has ended, and you see Argasto looks agasto. And you begin just walking towards him, and he looks to you, the two of you, in shock and just confusion, and he just has this haze over his demeanor. And he looks at you and says, to your carts, we leave immediately.
I believe one of our men is actually downed and does need a little bit of time to rest. Is that a possibility at all, or do we need to make haste?
No, we need to go now. Whatever that was, the elves, no one is equipped to deal with this. And if they have what they need, they won't be coming back. We need to go now. No, absolutely not.
I mean, it's been dealt with. We've dealt with it.
If there is more to come, I don't want to deal with this. If your man is down,
just allow us a few minutes at least to make sure that his journey will be more comfortable than that it would be right now.
Fine. You take your leave. Prep him as you need to, or. And he kind of looks down, leave him. And then he turns and begins climbing into his carriage to get up where the horses are to start moving the caravan.
So as Shale and I walk back, I'll just shake my head and say, I never understand what fear does to people. Who leaves men behind, especially after things have been made safe? People make no sense to me sometimes.
I will never understand men's ways.
We'll make our way back to the caravan. I'll pop in and I'll say, Nem, I'll do what I can to help you make Jhin comfortable. I'm sorry, and I'll look at Jhin. I'm sorry, friend, but they're very adamant that we leave right now. I believe they're all frightened, so we're going to have to make haste. We'll do what we can to make you comfortable. So just hold tight.
Just puts a thumb up. Understood.
She'll lean down and when we fight together, you need to understand that what we were up against, what we just fought, that's the cost of magic. It's the cost of other things as well, but it's also the cost of magic.
You're saying
she'll know that he won't. She'll know that he's probably never seen that because he's like a knight and he's fought in like wars, but he's never been like in the woods and seen stuff like that, like Mahdga and I probably have, or at least heard of it. But she'll go to get out the back, and she'll say, "Do you want me to prepare your horse? I can tie her up so she can walk alongside us, and just groom her, make sure she's happy, water. But we'll have to be quick."
That would be appreciated. She'll make do if you can just at least tie her up. I'll take care of it later.
Okay. Nem will hop out and just give Mahdga like a pat on the shoulder as she hops out.
All right, so yeah, we'll make him comfortable as much as we can, get everything together.
Okay, so you sort of brush water the horse, hook it up the appropriate way so that the horse can ride next to the carriage. You guys prep Jhin as well as you can, and the carriage, the caravan takes off. It is a hard and arduous journey. You guys are riding harder and faster than you have at any part of the journey. It seems as though Mahdga's suspicions were correct, and they are driving this caravan much more aggressively due to the fear, whether it's the fear of another abomination, something else happening, Argasso just wants this mission done, or the fact that elves get involved and he wants out of there as fast as possible. You're not sure, but it does seem as though he is driving the horses harder than before. The wagons are sort of jockeying all over the place. You're able to keep Jhin in a position enough, like, you've boxed things around him, or one of you holds him down as you go over particularly rocky parts. And when it gets too bad, one of you is able to get out and sort of maintain and like pull along Sheba. Nem, over the next 2 days, feel free to make those heal checks.
Does anyone else need it aside from Shale? I already healed today, and Jhin.
Well, you have 2 more days.
No, I know, but I'm just asking, so I'm going to heal them. But you don't need it, right?
Mahdga? With 2 days, I'll be healed up. So
okay, you only 2 points. Okay, how many are you missing? Like, would I look at you and see that you still need to be healed, or Jhin?
Oh, I thought you were talking to Shale still. I'm missing 3 actually, but I imagine that I'm still in rough shape aside from that.
Yeah, you can see that Jhin has lost a lot of blood, and his skin color is coming back, and you are mostly. So we'll say
she's taking care of your horse, and she's like, "Suck it up."
We'll say that's day 1. That's day 1 for Shale and Jhin. So you're mostly able to keep his wound clean, and you sort of peel back a few more pieces of the metal. It sort of jacks up his arm a little bit more, but you're able to keep the wound from festering while you're out in the wilderness. So that is 1 day. This is the second day. Roll 2 more. So Jhin and...
There you go, Jhin.
And 1 more for Shale. Okay. Now, what do you heal with Medicus? When you don't have a potion, just a regular.
1d6.
Okay, so roll 1d6 twice.
Even if I get 1, though, he's healed from the journey. Because it's 2 days, 1 health each day until I have 3 points. No matter what, he's fully healed.
Yep. Shale, what about you?
He was already going to heal anyway. He only needed 2.
I needed 1 after the first day, so
okay.
No matter what.
Cool. So you're able to apply your trade and clean out the wounds of Jhin and Shale, and sort of neatly use whatever adhesive things you might have, like sap or something, to stick the wounds together on Shale and sort of glue them down to heal them better. So you guys are back up to full health mechanically. And it is approaching late afternoon on the second day as you feel the caravan lurch and begin to slow down. Shale, you're the first to see it. you see out ahead of this now 5-wagon caravan, you see a massive wooden palisade extending like 30 feet in the air. You see this entrench. It just goes on for what seems like forever, arcing around and entrenching the city of Thistle Hold. You see that there are large buildings peeking out over this impossibly high palisade. You see this massive tower erected in the middle of this thing, glowing beacon at the top of it. And for the first time, you see Thistle Hold.
I think Shale will, tap on the side of the wagon and peek his big head in. We've arrived at City of Men.
What do the rest of you guys do?
Nem will hop out, take a look.
Okay.
She just has her bow and she's like, just looking up at the door.
I'll reach down, an arm to Jhin, and I'll say, "Do you think you can sit up?"
He'll nod and kind of grimace a little bit, but make his way up.
I'll help him, maybe sit up and kind of out of the caravan.
Okay. Jhin, everything is painful for you. You have just bruising across most of your abdomen. Essentially, man, it's a weird thing to explain. When you bend over, think if you sew yourself together, when you stretch back out, you feel your skin start to pull, because that's where you were rent open, so you're sewn up. So extending to full, oh, okay, but it's a natural thing to stand that way. But as soon as you begin to, you're like, oh nope, I'm not there yet. So you kind of have to have this awkward hunch, so that your stitches don't separate from each other.
My halberd as a staff.
Yeah.
I'll stand on one side and kind of help
him down. Okay.
Yeah.
But again, the three of you sort of get out of the caravan. You guys get out of the wagon there, and you see this black palisade go around. You see that you guys are approaching this massive gate, and the first of the wagons is beginning to pull through. You can see that there are men in armor outside of this thing, and they are speaking to what you assume to be Argasto from atop his carriage. You all would know that entry into the city requires either a special ring or coin. None of you have the ring. All of you have the coin. Jhin?
Does my family have any kind of bearing out here?
So the rings, so you would know specifically, Jhin. The rings there's a copper ring, a silver ring, and a gold ring. The copper ring are usually for people who live around the city. There's a small little hovel around the city. People that work in and out of the city and have to come in and out just for work. The silver bands are for people who live inside the city, and the gold bands are much more rare, and those are given to people who go on expeditions. So you would not have one of these because they're unique to this place. And you also know that the entrance fee is mostly a taxation. So you could probably talk your way out of paying it, but you also know that it's 5 shilling, which is
nothing,
chump change to you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it might be so beneath you that it's not even worth talking to someone about it. Entirely up to you what you do with that, but that's what you would know. So you see this massive, 35-foot tall wooden palisade, black all the way around. You see that there are these massive towers. These buildings are huge and arcing over the palisade wall. You see this massive tower in the center. You see that there are a small hovel of small buildings outside of the area. And I will switch over to the sweet map.
Oh man, new things.
City. Beep.
Can we ask how much it is to get in?
Yes. As soon as you get up there, you can. Or you can talk to Jhin. You do see there are people talking, and you see an exchange of hands. So I mean, you could ask Jhin. He is
He would. I'd actually be fiddling with my coin purse.
Yeah.
and I'd be pulling out the appropriate amount of shillings for the squad, so to say.
Okay, for everybody.
Yeah, and I'd hobble over the Shale, and I'd like kind of look up to him, and I'd be like, I can't quite reach that high right now. Could you come down and take this? And like I just extend my hand like kind of feebly for him to grab the shilling.
Yeah.
It's
We're
just
gonna
one.
need this to get into. We're gonna need this to get into the town. We don't seem to have the appropriate accoutrement.
Mm-hmm.
And
Shale's a bit put off by it. Again, as usual, probably looked to Mahdga for confirmation. These men are strange. But he'll take the offered coin.
We need to pay them to get in, Shale. They won't let us through the gates if we don't pay them. This is the coin we need. Thank you very much, Jhin.
he kind of just points and smiles. He's like, and then kind of starts coughing.
I'm gonna buy with some more medical supplies because you seem to need them a lot.
He throws you a full thaler.
She's just gonna jokingly bite on it, like joking, like, "Oh, I'm a peasant. I don't know what this is." She's got her own bag though. She's got a bag of coins that she took off those dead bodies.
Yeah,
She's
I mean,
jingle
it's not entirely untrue because the barbarians, inter-barbarian, pay in trade.
Yeah,
so
she's seen them before.
Yeah,
But she hasn't used them. But
yeah, so the only time you have coin is when you deal with the Ambrians, and that's fairly recent, I would assume.
How many thaler? No, how many shilling in a thaler?
Like a couple.
Say 10.
Like 10.
Sure. If it changes.
10's a good number. Yeah, so you see the caravan like lurch and then stop, and you can see that the next person is talking to people at the gate, and then after a few minutes goes by, it lurches and stops. Like you see everyone kind of like move forward. So it's a good like hour procession of this conversation and the slow like canter up, and then the next conversation, the slow canter up, and you guys, once you finally get there, are you in the cart or out of the cart? Are you in the wagon or out of the wagon, rather?
Out.
Everyone's out?
I'm out at least.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you guys are all walking up on the side of this thing, and you see... you all see immediately the gawks and stares in your direction. Mahdga and Shale, you are obscenely aware of these gawks and stares.
Gonna throw the hood over my head for my cloak.
Yep. I assume you do that before you kind of get up here. So you see that like underneath the cowl of your hood, you're mostly covered in shadow underneath the hood, but you see all of the guards that are at the gate are just staring at Shale.
Shale's used to it.
Yep.
He's obviously uncomfortable with this situation because like it's a big city and he's never been to one of these. But the only person who'd probably pick up on it is Mahdga, because she pulls up her hood. He just puts on his ogre face.
Mm-hmm.
And I know he hates talking to people, so I'll sort of gently touch his hand and hold out my hand for the money that Jhin gave him, and then I'll just sort of motion to have him help Jhin, kind of help him walk.
Yeah.
And I'll take the money.
Okay. Nem, this is the first time you've seen a human city this big. You've seen some small outlying villages. You've encountered humans in the woods that have, roadside aid from you, have received roadside aid from you. But this is the first time you're seeing this. This is probably so you're seeing these men in armor, you see this massive caravan go through, you see these huge walls, which isn't common, especially for your people, to have a walled city. And you see this massive wall, and then you see buildings inside that are even higher, which is also uncommon for your people. The only time you would see something this massive is if you, which would happen rarely, made the journey to Karvosti, which is like the where the Huldra and the chief, the high chieftain lives. So this might be the first time you're seeing anything on this massive of a scale.
this is the first time.
Okay.
She would go up, hand her coin that Jhin gave her, and then walk over to a set of guards.
Mm-hmm.
Good day. where could I find your town healer or supplies of that nature, or anyone like that? Can you point me in a? Is it near? She's just like mumbling.
Yeah, he looks to you and then like looks to the guard and smiles and says, "It's always weird when they speak our language."
That's racist.
Yeah. All right. You could go to Marvelorn's. Do you know your directions?
Yes, my simple mind knows directions.
Okay, good. And he proceeds to give you like, go left here, take your second right on this area. But he tells you how to get to Marvelon's.
Okay.
Marvelon's.
She'll look over to the rest of the group. I guess I will see you all later. Are we meeting up somewhere? Should I just go on my own? I was just gonna go to the store.
Give us just a second to pay and get in. We'll make plans once we enter the gates of the city. We'll figure out where we're going to stay. And then we can separate. If that's okay.
Yeah, and she'll go over and pet Jhin's horse.
You see the next guard look at Mahdga and like...
I'm going to sort of, keep... my face, I'm not going to make direct eye contact. I'm just going to reach out and give him, I'm assuming this is money that's enough for me, Jhin, and okay.
Yeah.
So
I'll... So he's like looking, like trying to get a look under the hood, and as you like keep avoiding him and just hold out the money, I just picture Shale just being Shale behind you, and eventually he like... and then takes the money from you. And just sort of like nods at Shale and puts the money down. As Shale makes ogre face into the city.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like we'll literally just walk past him after that without...
And Jhin, this city's kind of small for you. Like this is you've seen stone palisades, you've seen castles. You've fought in cathedral, you've trained in cathedrals, you've been to cathedrals, you're a knight of Ambria. So this looks like
a podunk town.
It looks like a podunk town. It looks like the capital of podunk towns. This place is pretty decent, but like it's a wooden palisade. The city isn't as well laid out as like the capitals like Indaros or like New Berendoria is still being built. So you've seen the layouts of what it's going to look like. So it looks like some backwater city, but it's still a pretty big city. What do you do as you approach these guards? Because you're not wearing any of your finery. Your armor has been rent open and then been taken off of you, so you just look like a... I assume you're just wearing your the doublet that you wear underneath armor.
Yeah.
So you're using a halberd as like a cane. So you just kind of look like a commoner with a really nice stick.
Yep. I'll look up to him as I walk up, and I'll extend the money, and like I won't let him grab it. I'll just kind of drop it into his hand.
Mm-hmm.
Fine weather, and he'll like kind of hack a cough, and he'll say, "So, how have things been around here?"
Terrible as of late, to be quite honest.
Well, with such shoddy construction and wooden walls, I can only imagine.
Yes, the construction of walls and mostly the murders is what I'm concerned with, not the walls or construction work, but sure, those could be improved, I guess.
Murders within or without?
Oh, within.
Suspects?
Yes. This monstrosity called the Flayer.
The Flayer. And he looks down to his chest. Well, nice talking to you. Am I allowed in, please?
Well, of course. You paid your way in, you may enter.
And he stops as he's about to pass. He's like, the Flayer. Large? Small? I imagine it flees for a living.
No one knows. We've just seen the
results?
Skin left behind.
That's great. Any general area or all about?
The latter.
Great. Well, this should be fun. And he just kind of walked forward.
So you guys have successfully completed your first adventure. Nem, that means you have your adventure skill back to make potions should you need it in the future. Also, everyone gains 10 experience points.
Numbers.
I'm getting me a fucking bear.
I'm going to come up with a contingency plan for when you kill my horse.
Bear tank. I'll just put my bear tank in front of your horse. It'll be fine.
What's your horse's name going to be? We're going to make a spin-off. Sheba.
I'm going to name my bear horse.
Sheba and horse. Sheba and horse.
So, it costs 10 experience points to get a new ability. It costs 20 to go from novice to adept, and 30 to go from adept to master. So you may hold on to your points. Also note, in the mechanics for this game, there are ways you can use your XP outside of leveling up. You can spend 1 XP to, let's say, re-roll a shitty roll. You can spend XP on certain artifacts to attune to them as opposed to getting corruption. So there are other uses for magical item. I'm sorry, for XP, to include magical items. So think carefully about what you want to do with your XP because it has a multitude of uses.
Can I use 1 XP to get 10 extra XP?
You may not.
Okay.
Can I?
No.
Can I use 1 XP to get a genie?
No.
Can we use 1 XP to get a better DM?
Man.
And now
Kyle, I got XP for you.
Well, what about because it would be so easy, half a point?
So, before you in the city, you see this monstrous creature. It has scythe-like talons for arms as it begins to flay the entire caravan in front of you. Jhin dies of panic. Shale is flayed and worn as a skin suit.
Nem goes home.
That's how I'd want to go.
Nem turns around and goes, fuck it, and just leaves.
They're stuck inside.
You guys have 10 XP to do with what you want. If you want to take a new ability, cool. Just let me know what it is. You guys know how to do all that shit. But for now, you guys are inside the gates of Thistle Hold. What do you want to do?
I'll look to Jhin. He's used to cities and whatnot. And I'll first of all, how long do we know how long we're going to be? I mean, we had planned on being here for a little while, right? I mean, this was our destination, correct?
Yeah.
Was this not? This was where the Magicka place is.
Yes.
Okay. So I'll just look to Jhin and I'll say, obviously, we're going to need a place to stay. I know nothing of this place, but maybe you could point us in the right direction, what you think might be the right direction.
So what I know about this area, is there any, because this is still technically under the purview of the nobility, right? Like this is, they still answer to the queen.
Yes. In fact, roll me cunning.
Cunning. Let me be a cunning linguist. Any advantage,
Nope.
disadvantage?
What do you have for social nonsense?
Oh, you're right. Character gets a second chance to succeed when taking on social challenges within its own society. It does not have to roll the dice unless it strives to accomplish something which is near impossible.
Okay. In that case, you would know the following. As soon as I remember where it is. So you know that this is lorded over by a man named Mayor Night Pitch. One word. You know that he was granted this parcel of land that became Thistle Hold on the edge of the Davokar because he allegedly assisted the queen directly in procuring a
Thistle down or something.
Cure for her mother. Yes.
Yep.
A very rare herb from inside Davokar called Thistledown. And so he was granted access to this area for himself to build a city in. So yes, it is. He is not nobility. He is a mayor here, but he is a friend of the queen, more or less. So you would know that information.
And I think it would be semi-safe to say, at least being a relative of somebody who is in the queen's good graces, that I am of some measure like semi-nobility still.
Yeah, you're just low nobility. Yep. You're
Okay.
like the cousin of the, whatever the fuck.
Right, but that's still respected to some extent.
Yeah. As long as you have proof of who you are.
Is there anywhere like in these towns that would be a guild for like nobility, or anywhere like a common house that I could take advantage of? Any contacts that you would think of, liaison or an ambassador from Inderos?
Interesting. Maybe. Let me find out. That is a good question. Let's see here. So you're looking for like a night place, or like where nobility would meet up, right? Is that what I'm getting from you?
Yes, I am.
So you know of several in roll me cunning just in case, just to see how much you know of this place.
A lot.
A success. Okay, cool. So you know several things. All of those things are scattered throughout the city. Cool. Good time. Good stuff over there. So you know of several places that are strange, like in your category of things. There's the town seat. There's the night home. There is the Sun Temple, which you would be familiar with. There's the Queen's Legation. There's the Ordo Magica, a mission house. There's a town watch area, and there's what's called the Beacon. The Beacon, of course, is the massive tower light with flame that you see before you. You're looking for
somewhere to stay.
So none of those are places to stay. There are a dozen inns in this place you could easily find and stay in one of those. If you're staying here for a long period of time, you could procure housing. You have a lofty amount of money to use. There's a garrison here. You could go ask around there if you so choose. What the hell else would be?
I guess I'd be looking for a slightly nicer place with better amenities.
Okay.
For everyone.
Okay.
We'd like the place that has happy endings, please.
Gross.
Gross but necessary.
Yeah. Good luck finding a place for me.
I like that.
Pay them. They have to.
So you begin. So is that where you're all going? You're all gonna rely on Jhin to find you like lodging, right? Is that what
He's been super useful up till this point. I mean,
that's true. He's pretty great. He's a pretty great guy. He's a great guy, if I had to say so myself.
He's a smart fella.
He told us not to look his gift horse in the mouth.
And you didn't so far, so I guess it's working out.
I feel like at this point, douche or not, Mahdga definitely knows that he would know, his way around people better. I mean, she doesn't want to talk to these people more than she has.
Yes, that's clear
right.
That you don't want to talk to people. So you know of you easily ascertain that there are several rooms in several different places. You're looking for exclusivity or a fine location. I assume you're looking for opulence.
To some extent, more so just that a measure of privacy, because he knows they're not really going to be too cool with Shale potentially.
Okay.
And somewhere where he can kind of get not necessarily pampered, but he has a more comfortable living arrangement for the time being.
Okay.
Because he still feels like he's dying.
Yeah, so judging by your knowledge of the area and your ability to find things locally, you settle for less opulence, but you find a place that's above average but not opulent because you're looking for a place that will house Shale. Because, first of all, most people won't even let him in his establishment, places that you would seem to go. But you are able to find a place ironically called the Witch and Familiar. I think the irony is that you found the place because you were like, I need to find a place for and you find that once you arrive at the Witch and Familiar, it is 1 shilling per night, 5 shillings per week per room, or 2 thaler a month. So you can rent this place out for an extended period of time.
How much is it per week again?
Per week is 5 shillings per week per room.
How big are the rooms? Like per person each?
Yeah. So you would need probably like 4 rooms.
So that would be, we agree that's 2 thaler.
5 per week. Oh yeah, sorry, that's per month. 2 thaler per month. Oh, you're saying 5 thaler? Yes. Yep. Numbers. That's how those work. Yeah. So 2 thaler a week for everybody.
For all. All right. He'd front pay that. I'm gonna mark it off.
Okay. So everyone, you are able to stay at the Witch and Familiar for 1 week, free of charge. Jhin has paid for your lodgings. So we'll say that you guys are in the Witch and Familiar. It's not like cheap or flea-infested kind of place. It's not a terrible lodging. Nem and Mahdga, it's better than most places you've stayed, because you guys kind of live out in the woods. So it's nicer than like a tent, or nicer than like a tree or whatever kind of place the barbarians live in. Shale, this is probably the nicest place you've stayed in. I can't imagine in your previous life that you were treated to any kind of finery whatsoever, let alone a bed. Hell, I'm not sure you entirely know what to do with a human-sized bed, other than push it against the wall and avoid it entirely for fear of breaking it. And Jhin, for you, this is slumming it. This is probably the worst kind of place you've stayed in before. All the blankets are itchy. The sheets are also itchy. The whole place is just reeks of ineptitude. Mostly because you're a pompous douche. So
I like to imagine him walking in. He's like, "Well, this I guess it'll have to do," and he's just looking around, super upset. And Nem is just eating the 2-day-old wolf. Or 3-day-old wolf, and just rolling around in the blankets.
Yeah. This is the most blanket and pillow. I think this is the most blanket and the only pillow you've ever seen, full of some kind of down. Yeah. So you guys find housing quite easily at the Witch and Familiar. We'll say that you guys are in the common area. There are many awkward stairs. Mahdga, you feel incredibly uncomfortable. You likely keep your hood up the majority of the time. Your kind aren't unheard of. You look different enough to always garner stares. And when they're not staring at you, you're painfully aware that they're staring at Shale. Who, though has a thicker hide and keeps his ogre face on, you know that it bothers him. So we'll say you guys are all in the common area at the start of this next scene. Free to discuss whatever you'd like. Jhin has paid for your rooms. You're all aware that Jhin has paid for a week for you guys to stay together. The floor is yours.
We have to buy our own food and stuff, right? It doesn't come with the room.
We'll say it comes with 1 meal a day.
Because
service. Why not?
Okay, Nem's taking. She's eating it.
Yeah.
Right now.
I assume you guys it's late afternoon when you guys arrive. You guys kind of wind your way through the city. You find the Witch and Familiar. You are fed as you're in the. That's why you're in the common area.
Neb would say she's going to Marvlorn's and that she'll see them later. She's going to head out the door pretty quickly before the shops close.
Okay, so you quickly just nosh down some food and you run out to Marvlorn's.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What are the rest of you doing?
I'll look to Jhin and I'll say we're definitely indebted to you for the room. The accommodations are very pleasant. We really appreciate it a lot. I assume we all have business here. I do. So. Yeah. I would like to find my way to the Ordo Magica sometime today. But Jhin, you're more knowledgeable about these things than I. While we're here, I do want to see about outfitting Shale with some sort of armor, just something that he can still move in, but that does give him a little bit more protection. And so I was hoping that I could maybe ask you a favor in helping me perhaps find the right place to do that and the right kind of armor, because I don't know very much about it at all.
He nods. Well, I need to repair my armor as
Of course.
We can find a day out in the town, figure out what we can get.
Okay, well then I'll leave you to your business. Just any time is fine. If there's anything that you need, though, please don't hesitate to ask.
He gives his thumbs up. Hunt, really quick aside, it is 110 and 100 for thaler, shillings, or tags.
110 and 100. Okay.
Yep.
So
just like gold to silver to
yeah,
copper.
so that's what we said. So two.
Yep, exactly.
So it's a thaler for the week for us?
It's already been paid.
Yeah, he's already paid for it.
No, I was just curious. It's just one, though?
It's 5 shillings per week. So
2 thaler.
So 2 thaler total.
Yep,
and I already marked it off. Yeah, so, I mean, Jhin would be ready to head out pretty much whenever. He doesn't want to spend too much time here.
Yep.
He would be, while he's out and about with them, he'd be looking around for any kind of tournaments, melees or jousting if they do that here.
So you would know right off the bat that it is not common that they do that here. Primarily because of the majority of people here are adventurers. They are. This is the unofficial capital of going into Davokar. So it gets a little dicey. Most of the people that would be into doing that kind of thing are here to go into the forest and risking yourself fighting for coin rather than risking your body to go make riches. Most people don't entertain that. Occasionally there is like a festival that calls for something like that. However, it is uncommon.
Does he know about the explorer licenses here?
You would be at least that knowledgeable.
Our current circumstances, though, really don't give him need for it, right?
Correct. Unless you have reason to venture in the forest right now.
Nope,
I'm not sure that Jhin was coming here looking for adventuring into the forest. I know you were looking to like prove yourself. I don't know if Jhin thinks that's the way to do it yet.
Yeah, it is. Bringing justice is the first and foremost for him.
Right.
And yeah, so then I would be looking for the nearest. Actually, you know what? I would go to the barracks or the guardhouse. Anyone that would have an inn with, like you mentioned earlier, kind of the nobility.
Yep.
See if we can find a slightly higher end armor or quartermaster.
Okay, interesting. And Mahdga and Shale, what are you guys doing?
I imagine, we would just have conversation with Jhin for a little while, walking around town, but then definitely serious business on towards the... I imagine, is the Ordo Magica building pretty noticeable? Like we would...
Yeah, it's a literal tower. It's a literal wizard tower.
So we would definitely take leave from Jhin and head in that direction. I had beforehand kind of packed my little bag with my books, history, witchcraft kind of tomes and whatnot, and made our way there. As we're walking around, do I see Bartolom anywhere at all? Maybe outside the tower?
Roll me vigilant, and also tell me how good is Mahdga's memory?
Me personally, how good do I think it is? I think she would be pretty awesome at remembering, especially faces and people that she's come across.
Okay.
What was I rolling you, by the way? Vigilant?
Vigilant. you recall that Nem also had reason to go to Ordo Magica.
Okay.
You do not see Bartolom, however, you are easily guided to the Ordo Magica, which is right there.
Okay. Do I remember what Nem needed to go to the Ordo Magica for?
You remember that in conversation you overheard that Bartolom had told her that she might be able to find knowledge about herbs and medicinal uses and medicine and healing at the Ordo Magica, as they have libraries of books.
Okay. Since I'm already here, I will make my way into the tower. What is there, like a fucking front desk?
There is not a front desk. Oh, what did I do?
I don't know, but it scared me.
Sorry.
There's a door and a little bag pops out. Nobody gets in to see the wizard.
Yeah. So we'll say you get to the Ordo Magica, and then we'll cut back to Nem. Nem, you are going to the store. What are you looking for?
She wants to go first to the store to get stuff that she would know she needs. Any herbs. She wants to see how much it costs to get any of the things that she can make, because she knows it takes a little while to make them. She'd rather just buy them readily available since she's made a little bit of money, and just look for a quick, just quickly look. And then she wants to go see if she can get more arrows. And then she wants to go to the Ordo Magica.
Okay, so
that's why she left first and quickly, because she knew she had like a
laundry list of things to do.
Yeah.
So Marvalum's is an equipment store, essentially. So you are not going to find herbs here. In fact, you get a feeling that you're not going to find herbs in most places. They're just going to sell you the more expensive thing, which is the actual poultices.
That's what she's looking for.
Things themselves, yeah. So you can you get there, and this place. Oh man, you've never been here. So this place looks like what you would imagine a general store to look like. No, so you walk into this place. There is a small spring on the door as you open the door in, and it makes like a doing noise that makes someone come to the front and pay attention. But you do see that there are behind the counter there are weapons kind of stockpiled. You can tell that being who you are, being a barbarian and relying on the basic things you have, you know that's probably not how you treat a sword that's worth a damn. It's like a pile, think like an umbrella tray, but full of swords kind of situation, where they just made cheaply at quick, mass produced. But you do see that there are, small poultices. There is leather pouches that have, something in them. They're stoppered things, wine flasks. Basically, all kinds of adventuring gear. So you're looking specifically for arrows and healing potions. Is that correct? Or
not healing, but poultices in general. See what they have.
Okay. So you see Marvalom, which is a weird name. You see Marvalom kind of walk out, and he is probably in his mid-30s, his little gray around the temples, and he looks to you and he says, "Excuse me, what can I do for you?"
I was wondering what type of elixirs you had.
Mostly all types. What do you need? You need healing? Do you need herbal cures? Do you need... we don't deal in poisons.
That's fine. Weak antidotes and herbal cures. I was wondering what your prices were.
Yes. And he reaches up and grabs something on the shelf and pulls down this small chest and opens it up, and you can see that there's a few tinctures in there with cork stoppers. He says these are antidotes. These will help you with reptilian, spider, and he just keeps going through a list of the various things you would need antidotes for, pointing to them. He says these are 1 thaler each. You said elixirs.
She's looking for the novice stuff that she can actually use.
Yeah, he's rummaging through, and he pulls out another box. This one's slightly larger. and these don't look anything like what the elf gave you, but they look closer to what you've made. Just it looks fancier. And he clasps open this jewelry case of these long vials. He says, "These herbal cures." I'm sorry. What else did you need?
Antidotes and herbal cures. I was wondering, they're just a thaler each?
The antidotes here, 1 thaler each. We have stronger ones if you need those. And the herbal cures are also 1 thaler each.
I'll take one of each.
No? Okay. And he sort of just puts them down on the wooden countertop and then clips both the things closed, both of the boxes closed, and slides them off. He says that would be 2 thaler.
She'll hand it over. Do you have any arrows as well?
Yes, quite a number. How many would you like?
How much are they?
For 10...
I go through them quite quickly.
Well, arrows or bolts, or both?
Arrows.
10...
I have better luck with those.
Fair. 10 arrows for 1 thaler.
Okay. She'll also give him that.
And you see him go behind, you see a fabric flap that leads to a back room, and you see him just come back with a handful, a wad, and he just and dumps them on the counter, and he hands you 10 arrows. He says that would be 3 thaler, please.
She'll hand it over and thank him and leave.
Have a good day. Anytime, we will be here. All your needs.
Thank you.
I had said something else, but I don't know what it was. The old man makes me say all kinds of things. Yeah, good day. And he begins to go back behind that flap again. I said it! And he walks behind there. So you have elixir, a antidote, and arrows, and you begin to head towards the Ordo Magica. Roll me vigilant.
One moment, please. Just straight?
Actually, you know what? Roll me cunning, because you have no idea where you're going.
I would much rather roll cunning.
Yeah, you have no idea where you're going.
And fail.
Okay. How do you presume to find the Ordo Magica?
I would ask a guard again, because they were super helpful, even though they were
sure.
douchey.
So after a good 30 minutes of wandering around and asking probably several random people that look in various guard dress, because a lot of people here look kind of like Jhin with varying amounts of armor.
Well, she spoke to the first guard. She would look at,
Yeah, they don't wear... There's no tabard on these guards. They were just in... The 2 guards were in similar armor. They both had, chainmail armor. They both had similar weapons. But then again, there are also probably, in the several dozens of people that go into the forest on a regular-ish time frame. So they also have armor. But you eventually find a guard, and he directs you towards the Ordo Magica, which is here.
Okay. Yeah, she's also looking for Shale, because she assumes he's standing outside waiting for Mahdga.
That's probably fair. And we'll go over to Jhin. Jhin, what are you looking for?
I'd be looking for, what was mentioned earlier, a guard's quarters or outfitter for the town. Anybody who might have any sort of tie to nobility, and see if I can find a quartermaster or something like that.
Okay, so you're looking for a better armorer. Is that what I'm getting out of this?
A solid armorer, yes. One that I might be able to finesse a little bit into a better price, all the same. And also somebody of repute with the city, not just some kind of common folk.
Yeah, I got you. Where would you go? Where would you go? Yeah, okay. So, you find several places. The first of which is... let me see here. What is this called? The barracks? I think, nope, the barracks is a guard sleeping area. You ask around the town. You find various guard asking for this higher-end equipment salesman or nobility dealer or what have you.
Or armorer.
Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. Armorer. I also couldn't think of that. Leader is a good one. So you are able to... Man, I'm trying to think where would have that. Because there's not really a knight presence here. We'll say you find one. I'll find you a name eventually.
Okay.
So...
Ludovid.
Yeah. Discount market. Nope, that's not what you need. You don't need discount market. You need a high-end market. There's a place called Kodamar's Huckery. Yeah. Yeah, actually, you find, like, nothing. Most of these places sell general goods.
Damn.
Yeah, most of these people sell, like, your basic equipment and general goods. So we will say that you find inside one of these places, we'll call it something. So you find a place. You find a place where the town guard are outfitted. This isn't a... You kind of use your nobility and your sway with whatever patents of nobility you might have. Some kind of family crest, whatever shows that you are actually who you say you are. You find this place... this is basically the people that outfit the town guard. Now, this isn't open to the public. This isn't a place that does sales. But you have, flashed around the right amount of coin. You have expressly plastered your name out to places. You've offered to put in good words in other places. And roll me a quick persuasion. Persuasive.
Even with the because I'm not really dealing with noble as a thing. No disadvantage or anything?
Nope, just a regular. I just want to see what the scale of your success is. Okay, so you're able to find this place, and you're brought by one of the guards to their armorer. The armorer is a staunch, squat, older man who has you can see that he's got singe marks and burns up his arms, and you can see that he's got big burly hairy overgrowth, but you can see the parts of it are singed off from the sparks hitting it. He has no eyebrows and is completely bald. And the guard sort of opens the door for you and he says, "Well, good luck." And then sort of ushers you inside and closes the door behind you. It's a good solid 10 minutes of this guy working on things and looking at you, and then turning back and just completely ignoring your existence as he works on more things. And anytime you open your mouth to say something, he just grabs the nearest item, the nearest hammer or the bellows, and just starts, or just blowing the bellows into the fire so it makes louder noise. You can tell he doesn't want to talk to you, but you obviously continue to stand there. You have important business. So the longer you stand there, the more heavy sighs he makes before eventually putting down the hammer, dunking the blade in oil, releasing the bellows, and walking over to you. This is what is it that you want? You've been standing here forever.
Not quite ever, but it did feel like that at times.
Yes, I know. You wouldn't leave at all.
I've been told I'm
annoying.
Charmingly. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's the word.
Mm-hmm.
I have a request.
Okay.
And I understand a man such as yourself has a very important job, armoring the town's guard, especially what with that. What is the word? Flare going around?
Yes, the flare.
Well, and do I have my armor strapped to a pack around my back or something like that? Okay. I have some armor that needs fixing, and a special order that will. I guarantee you've never made before. See, I am a member of the Harengol family. Marshal Harengol is my grandfather, and I've come to help sort things out here. I require your aid. Humbly, I request it.
Okay. What do you need? Special order. Grandfather is someone important.
He holds the armor out. He's like, so I had a run-in with something, and
And he
Well,
kind of
this
like
armor-
he kind of like holds up your chest plate and sees that there's like 2 rake marks in it. This is, something.
Yes, well, it's in worse shape than I am.
Okay.
And he smiles. I require you to fix that, and I am a paying man. And I have a large ogre friend who, and he kind of takes out the other armors that he's been given, the leathers, I believe it was.
Mm-hmm.
Had 3, yeah. I would assume I would have passed it along.
And he's like, I need you to make armor fitting of an ogre. And he goes to stretch his arms. He's like, oh, okay, a large ogre.
Yeah, so roughly ogre-sized, I would imagine.
Safe bet. Yes.
And you're offering me the good graces of your grandfather.
Coin, definitely coin. And he's still kind of smarting from the trying to stretch. Coin, and I mean I'm not going to insult you, of course, coin. And he's kind of like mumbling because he's like he's really in pain. And once I'm of a better mind, and he looks down, shape, I'm sure I can dispatch of this flayer or whatever have you.
I'm sure you can't, but...
Oh, well, I shall try if you give me your time and effort.
And I will reclaim your armor off your flayed corpse. So it works out for both of us.
That sounds like a wonderful deal. You can take the armor off my corpse should I die.
Okay. Are you here to be a guard? What are you? You just you know what? I don't actually care. I felt compelled to ask a question. I was trying to be polite, and then I remembered I immediately didn't care, and you stopped me from working. Give me this. Like a week, I guess. And he like holds it up again. Yeah. And he grabs the back piece. And he puts that down. And then you just show him like tattered hides that have like some slash marks, some arrow punctures. And he says, it's not my forte or going to look very pretty, but yeah, I assume your friend doesn't either. Yeah, I'll take it. And he drops it on the floor in like a heap.
He laughs. It's really it's function over form. You understand?
Yeah, that's what I say about ogres all the time. Let's call it like 20 even, 20 thaler even. Maybe like a week.
He kind of like grimaces, knowing that's literally like the last of his thaler. He's like, that sounds appropriate.
Good. Don't bring anyone here. Also, don't ever do this again. I don't work for the public.
I am not the public, my friend.
In Thistle Hold, you're barely a step above. If you didn't have that, and he points to whatever it is that you proved that you were a Harengol, this conversation wouldn't happen.
I'd imagine there could be some sort of like tattoo.
Or tattoo or like crest or like whatever you want. Tattoo sounds cool. Is it a tattoo of a family crest? Is it a tattoo of like a symbol, like the Harengol house banner symbol?
Yeah, I'd say it's like the Harengol crest.
In the future, you can go the same place everyone else does. You can go see Big Basher at his smithy, or take up whatever noble claims you want with Night Pitch. He loves that shit.
I imagine nobody's as good as you, my friend.
I mean...
He smiles. And I only require the best as a man of quality and nobility.
Oh, I hate you more and more. Okay. Get out. Get out. I swear to Prios, if you bring someone else back here, I'm putting you in the billows.
He smiles as he's walking out. He's like, you're starting to like me. I can tell it.
I am
this
not.
Is how I win people over.
I am not. I'm going to leave holes in this. And he begins, like, you hear behind you an unceremonious clang, clang, as he, like, throws your armor on the floor next to the heap of hides. He also threw unceremoniously on the floor. You kind of like wince as you hear your family's armor just sort of clatter along the ground. Where do you go after this? You return back to the inn?
I'd actually go look to see if there's any kind of wanted board or anything to that effect going on.
Okay.
Petty criminals, bounties, wanted board.
Sure. So we will cut over from you and your armor to Mahdga, Nem, and Shale. Magda and Shale. Mahdga, you've gone inside. Shale, are you waiting outside of the Ordo Magica?
No, he's way too uncomfortable in this populated area to pretty well leave Magda's side at any point.
Okay. So you're... This is something you're uniquely accustomed to. The inner workings of Ambrian-sized doors in relation to ogres. And how they're not accustomed to your girth. So you're trying to get into this door as best you can in like an awkward maneuver as you see Mahdga just sort of walk right in. And from behind you, as you try to figure out how to not shatter the doorframe, you hear, Nem, what do you say when you see Shale struggling to get inside of a door?
Maybe if you tilt your head a little bit, or if you duck down and you stick. She's gonna try to help maneuver him, push his arm in a little, and just give him a gentle little closer.
So you hear a familiar voice, and then you feel tiny hands on you trying to force you through the door.
Gently.
Yeah. The familiar voice. He probably pauses, but I don't know how much contact Nem has had with Shale. She'd probably notice that he's pretty tense because as soon as she touches him, he jerks forward like a scared dog that's from behind kind of thing.
And that's what squeaks you into the door.
Yeah, pop through the door and turn around.
Job well done.
I did not know it was you.
She's just smiling at him. And she looks around him to look at Mahdga, who's at the counter, I'm assuming, talking to somebody.
There is no counter, and no one. There is no counter, and no one for you to talk to. However, the noise that Shale makes and the excited talking of Nem, Mahdga, you kind of walk in into this. It's like an open foyer. There are glass cases with various things in them. You're not really sure what they are. There's a lot of petrified things and like old bowls and just things you would imagine in a museum, like archaeological dig things. And it's only a few minutes after Shale sort of squeezes and loudly talks that a small person just sort of pokes a head into the room you're in. And Mahdga, you immediately realize this person has bloodshot eyes, and they present with a face that has been crying.
Oh.
A tiny person that looks like they've been crying.
You see it's mostly a head. It's a small female pokes her head out, and you can tell that she's been crying.
Hi. My friends and I were here. We just got into Thistle. Are you okay?
She walks through the door, and you can tell she's holding herself very uncomfortable. She's uncomfortable with this interaction. Maybe not because of who you are, but also you're not really sure because of who you are. But she kind of walks out holding her arm, and she looks very timid, and you can see that she's pale. And it looks like she has streaked stains down her face, and it looks like she's probably spent the majority of the day in tears. She says, no. The master, he's not seeing anyone right now. The other wizard, he came by. I sent him away too. Master Vernon isn't seeing anyone. What do you need? What can I help you with?
I ask why he isn't seeing anyone. Is he ill?
You see her pause for an inordinate amount of time. And she says, yes, in a way.
My friend, and I'll motion to Nem, is actually one of the best healers that I have ever come across. So perhaps she could take a look.
And you see that, like, tears begin to well up in her eyes. And she's... I don't think anything that you can do is going to help him.
Could I have a little more information? I want to help.
Yeah. Now I'll push up and say, what exactly is wrong with him?
Fine. And she, like, doesn't motion for you to come towards her. She just sort of turns and begins walking into the house, like, into this place. And you see that she walks into a room, and if you follow her, you see that there's a spiral staircase that begins to, like,
I'm assuming
climb
I need
up.
to tell Shale to hang out, because there's no way, if he barely fit through the front door...
I mean, it's going to be an uncomfortable squeeze for Shale, but, you know, he could muster his way through, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not a ladder, it's an actual, like, stone staircase. So he can, like, he's just going to be at an awkward angle climbing up the stairs, like, sideways.
I believe he's probably done it before, so...
Yeah. So she, like, silently, and you hear, like, like, sobs coming up as as you guys kind of follow her up this dark stairwell. She gets to the top of the staircase and looks at, who's first, Nem or Mahdga?
Nem pushed ahead of us, I think.
Yeah. She would probably let them be together.
She looks to you, Nem, and she says, what, and she like, what is in here is the most horrifying thing I have ever seen. I can't go back in.
She's going to grab her arm. Did he change into a different form? Something twisted and perverse?
No.
Okay.
He
Oof.
didn't do anything. And she, like, you still have, like, one of her arms, and she puts her hand on the door, and she, like, looks away and swings the door open for you to enter.
I'll have my hand on my bow and walk in.
Okay. Mahdga and Shale, are you...
Yeah, well, I'll follow behind her,
Okay.
for sure.
So, Mahdga, you walk in. Shale, I assume with the same issue with doors, you just kind of stick your head in to see what's happening in there, in case you need to barrel through and save anybody.
Yeah.
Nem and Mahdga, what you see before you is gross. You see blood everywhere. The floor is coated. In fact, you, like, walked in, and then, like, Mahdga, you probably walked in and bumped into Nem in pure shock. Nem, you're standing in blood. The floor is coated in a thick layer of blood, and what would give you pause as you walk in is the form of a man hanging upside down by his feet from the ceiling. He has been completely skinned. All of the blood has drained from his body, and you see that parts of his stomach has been rent open, and most of his entrails have spilled out on the floor. His intestines and some of the organs that are still attached to the insides are just dangling out of his body, collected in a pile beneath him. You can see that, like, where these organs hit the blood, the color changes with the viscous bile and stomach acid and other putrefying internal fluids are sort of pooling and coagulating at the floor. You see that in piles are pieces of flesh. And you also see that as he slowly spins in the ceiling, that up the back of his head has been wrenched open as well, and there is, like, chunks of brain matter also mixed in with the viscera. And you can see, like, that something or someone, or you're not even sure at this point, has been, like, scooping out part of his brain.
Okay.
Are we sure he's not alive? I'm kidding. Okay, so
I thought you were serious. I was like, fucking Christ.
No.
She will walk over and just shake her head. Such a shame. Such a brilliant and she's just kind of looking around. Can I look around just to see if there's anything unusual or if the room is safe or whatever?
Sure. Roll me vigilant. Anyone who is examining the room may roll me vigilant.
Well, if she doesn't see anything, she'll go comfort her.
Okay. Actually, you know what? Nem, roll me medicus.
We're gonna save this man.
It's okay. You try to scoop it back up, but it's like it's upside down, so it's just falling down again.
Mm-hmm.
We can make him stronger.
Yeah, we can rebuild him. We have the technology.
Well.
Okay.
So
he's fucked.
Yeah. I mean, he was super fucked. To be fair. Yeah. Actually, does that? What? Hold on a second. Is your what's your cunning?
Mine?
Is it 15?
Yes.
Okay. Cool. I just want to make sure that actually rolled the right ability. I wasn't sure if it did that. Yeah. So what are you doing, Nem, to look around this place? Are you actually like moving stuff around? Mahdga, the same question for you.
She wouldn't move anything because it's a crime scene.
Mm-hmm.
She would assume just because she's not used to how it normally is in cities and like law enforcement, but she doesn't want to fuck with anything that's not hers. So she's going to kind of look around and like if she lifts something up, she'll put it exactly where it was. She's not just like digging through or anything.
Okay. So everyone failed except for Mahdga. Okay, so you're looking around. Nem, I assume you spend the majority of the time looking at the actual corpse, trying to see what the hell happened to this guy, as opposed to like looking around the scene. Mahdga, you were here for magical research, so you see that obviously Nem is more accustomed to the human form than you are, so you kind of look around the rest of the scene. The first thing you notice, which is strange, is there is a painting on the wall. Now, if this man is believed to be Master Vernon, the man you were more or less sent here to see, the woman downstairs tells you as much. If this is true, I mean, it's hard to tell without any of his skin on his body. You see there's a painting hanging on the wall of a man in wizardly robes, looking astute. And he has black hair. This isn't the first painting you see now that you're looking at this painting now in a new light. There was other ones in the foyer. But what catches your eye in the strange light you're in, the skin on the ground has brown hair.
So I'll look at the girl who brought us up here and just say, so this isn't, his name is Master Vernon?
Yeah, Vernam.
Vernam. So this is Vernam? This body is Vernam?
And she is still like she has her back pressed to the wall outside the door. So if you're like talking over your shoulder to her, she's talking like away from you, and she says, "Yes, if you notice on his left hand, he is missing two of his fingers. He lost them when he lived in the Davokar with the witches."
Did his hair change color when he lived in the Davokar with the witches, though?
I don't think so.
You do notice that this corpse has brown hair.
No. Nope. I didn't notice. Is a
Master Vernam had black hair, as you know.
Man with no skin on.
Okay. Now, could you escort our friend out of the room, please?
Of course. I'm also going to see if I can find a guard.
Okay.
I'll take my time so you can look.
So you lead her downstairs, I assume consoling her in whatever way the excitable Nem finds consoling.
She's used to like having to like treat kids and stuff, or people who are like in shock from like, sings, that kind of stuff. So she'll just be like, "Oh, I think I got a piece of bread." Just try to like make her laugh, and she's just like,
"No way, bread."
Yeah.
No way, bread.
So I imagine that like, since this is your first time really journeying out to apply your medicine and learn more medicine, like growing up in a medicinal tribe, you were like the hold dad's flashlight over the garage, over the engine kind of thing. So it's like, "Oh, I got bread," as the person's like getting sewn up and like, "No, what are you doing?" So that's your specialty. Look at the thing.
She's like, just like annoyingly eating bread to distract them.
Yeah, that's your thing. Like, look at this. Yeah. Like, I'm getting sewn up. Why are you doing this with your face? Yeah. So you're trying to. She's not very receptive. You did just see the same flayed human corpse in there. She had some sentimental value to the man she believes it is, but she stifles more of her sobs as you sort of lead her downstairs. Shale, what are you doing? What are you thinking about this flayed man?
He's not liking it, so he's probably struggled with the door for a while, trying to get in it. Mm-hmm. And then when Nem is making her way back out with the child, he'd almost been in. He'd step back, let them pass, and then just kind of ungracefully force his way into the room. He wasn't about to leave Mahdga in there on her own.
Mm-hmm. Hey, you are in a blood-filled room, and if you're not wearing shoes, you're standing in blood.
Yeah, I'm standing in blood.
Yep.
You speak of his hair.
Shale, something is definitely wrong here. Master Vernum definitely has black hair. We've all seen pictures of him in text, and this man has brown hair. If I look at his fingers, I mean, I'm not, medically trained, but I imagine at some point we've definitely had to, I've watched people get tended to and had to
This isn't a fresh wound. The fingers, they're not freshly removed.
So it definitely could be fingers that got fucking sliced off years ago.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, this is not fresh. You would never have seen the pictures of him outside the pictures that are in the oil paintings that are inside this building.
So I've only seen him.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I take back what I said, and I just say we just saw photos of him in the lobby, where they really need a receptionist.
But it's not like a casual school where everyone comes to. It's like, this guy is the master of the tower, and that's about it.
I mean, there's obvious hair color differences, though, which is not something that happens. So if I look around a bit more, do I notice, is there anything that feels like witchcraft or wizardry to me? Is there anything that looks...
Do you touch anything?
Yeah, I definitely would at this point.
What are you touching?
I think I would... very, very precariously, just reach up and sort of move this disgusting body around and sort of look at his fingers, his robes, and just look for anything that looks out of place or looks,
all of his organs look out of place.
Right, of course, yes.
Yeah, they're below him.
Good.
He has no clothes on. His entire body, from head to toe, has been removed of flesh. There is not a scrap of it on him. However, nothing really is noticeable about him. Like, he just is completely flayed. The most noticeable thing is the fact that he is missing 2 fingers on his left hand. And obviously there's a gaping hole in the back of his head that is chunks of brain innards are also missing. Roll me a cunning, maybe?
I think Shale's probably moved over to like watch what Mahdga's doing as well. The like it takes a lot to remove the back of a person's head, and Shale's he's not experienced in a lot of things, but he is experienced with killing men. So is there any feeling I get to how this was done. Tools, implements, that sort of thing. Like was there time involved?
Roll cunning.
Do better than I did.
I can't promise that.
So, you know, actually, yes, you do know something. You notice, uniquely, due to who you are, that there are strange markings on his neck. Your best guess is that this man was strangled to death.
I think Shale would, seeing, Mahdga as she's looking kind of seeming to struggle, he pointed out someone strangled him first.
I'll take a look at his neck.
Now that it's pointed out, you do see ligature marks of a strangulation.
Could I sit on the floor and piece the skin together like a puzzle and see whose face? No. Can I?
Yeah.
Can I actually do this?
You can.
Okay, yeah. No, I would like to try and puzzle the skin together so I can see if it looks like it's a face that belongs on this guy.
Shale, you've seen some weird things recently, especially. This is likely the first time you've seen this. Mahdga sits down or squats down in a pool of blood and begins piecing together, strip at a time, the what you assume to be the human flesh of the man hanging before you, as you watch on in what I assume is vague horror and disgust.
It's kind of stomach churning.
Yeah.
But he trusts Mahdga implicitly, knowing that he doesn't have the delicate touch to really lend his hands to the task. He'd probably just go to the door and make sure she has the time to complete what she's doing.
Okay. Do you watch or do you face out of the door?
I think facing out of the door.
Okay.
Letting her do her thing.
Mahdga, it takes you some time to piece together the human flesh of a person. But all too soon you realize that you're not piecing together the flesh of a human person. You're piecing together the flesh of an elf.
Their bodies are cropping up everywhere.
It's given away by when you grab a chunk of face and it leads to a pointed ear.
An ear. Okay, so I will let Shale know. Shale, this is definitely the corpse of an elf. So we need to figure out one.
Well, it's definitely the skin of an elf.
The skin. Okay, yes. Skin of an elf is down here. Gross. Boy.
Is the man in the portraits an elf?
He's not.
No. We need to find out where Master Vernum actually is and who this actually is. So we need to find Nem and we need to find Jhin.
Now that you're on the floor and pulling apart elven flesh and piecing it back together like some kind of disgusting Lovecraftian puzzle, from your low vantage point, you actually see two other things. I assume you kind of turn to speak to Shale, and It catches your eye. There's a desk, which you assume to be Master Vernum's desk, but on the floor beneath it is paper soaking in blood. And from the distance you're at, you can see that there's text on it. It looks to be handwritten as opposed to most of the books around you. You also see, way under the desk, nearly up against the wall, almost imperceptible, you see a small ring.
So I'll go pick those up. I'll leave my skin puzzle and go pick up the things that I found. If I look at the ring, what does it look like?
The ring looks like... the ring is bloody. It's covered in blood, obviously. Inside of the ring, it has... The inside the ring has something carved inside of it, but you're not sure what the heck it is. It doesn't seem to be any barbaric dialect you know of, and it's definitely not Ambrian. However, this ring is like a small iron band.
Okay. In the portrait of this dude on the wall, is he wearing it?
Yes.
This is real fucked up. So if I look at the papers on the ground, is it written in ink? I can read it? Can I see what it says, or is it grossly, like...
That is the letter.
Okay.
Right there.
Well, that's...
What you can make out on there, because I'm not going to make you strain to read that.
Thank you.
I wanted to make you struggle for a second or two, but what you see is, Dear Master Nightpitch, I know that we seldom see eye to eye, but let me... Then it trails off. And that the skull of the king was shown to you, numerous sources have told me, and then it's unreadable, infects all who touch it, infects with the power of corruption. You appear to have escaped its destructive powers. Maybe you never held it. More unreadable. How the atrocities and the killings are connected to this, I cannot claim to know, but from a reliable source, I have heard that, and then it's unreadable.
I definitely remember the skull chat from the fellas in the woods before.
Mm-hmm.
And this was written... Can I tell that it was written by Vernum?
You can't. You know that you're in Vernum's office, and likely that was Vernum's desk, so probably, it's a reasonable jump to make that assumption.
But this is definitely not Vernum, so fucking, oh boy. So I don't see anything else. We're good in here. I can leave the skin puzzle and the...
Yeah, roll me another vigilant real quick.
I have a question as well. Well, she's gone back to investigating. Shale's probably gone back over to look at this piece together face.
Mm-hmm.
Is this a face we've seen before?
It is not.
All right.
In fact, it is the face of, I believe, a woman.
Woman?
Mm-hmm.
I rolled a fucking badass vigilant.
You did. You sure did.
Word of our community's
this is a face of a woman. Are there defining sex characteristics on the body itself?
What that dick do?
What that dick do?
Why are you people like this?
Yeah.
Look, his insides its insides are right there. Do we see?
Yeah.
Insides or outsides?
You see outsides.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Are there dangly bit outsides?
Mm-hmm.
Woman skin, man body.
I'm real fucked up, you guys.
This is some Buffalo Bill shit right here.
This is some meta game real quick. I'm real fucked up. So I've got this ring, I've got these papers, we're looking at lady skin and boy bits.
Mm-hmm. Also, you notice with that amazing vigilant that there's an open window, which didn't strike you as odd before, but now that you see that there are bloody footprints leading out of the window, it strikes you as odd.
Oh, I'm gonna Nancy Drew that shit. There's bloody footprints, open window. If I take a peek down, do I see anything?
You do not.
Okay. So I'm actually going to stand at the top of the doorway and ask, or yell down, not, freaking out, but just, ask if Nem could join me up at the...
Sure. Nem, you hear a worried, request for your aid.
Yeah, she was calming the woman down, and then when she calls for her, she'll say to the girl, wait a few minutes and then go find a guard. Because you don't want to keep this, a secret.
Yep.
Just wait like 10 minutes, just, collect yourself a little bit, and she'll just kind of give her like a rub on the back and then go up.
Okay. So yeah, you go up and you are treated back to the same scene. It appears as though someone has begun piecing together the scattered flesh bits into a person suit.
Judging by Mahdga's hands, it's her.
Yeah. Yeah. To be fair, she is also holding a bloody ring and a bloody note.
So, Nem, I found this note under the desk here and this ring, and I'll sort of brush the ring off with my fingers and as best I can and hand it to her and say, I don't recognize the inscription on the inside. However, Vernum is wearing this ring in his portrait. The man hanging from the ceiling here, as you can see, definitely does not belong to this skin, which is a female elf on the floor. We definitely have a problem here. Again, just to make sure, the body that's hanging does have different colored hair than Vernum.
I mean, the body has no hair. It's entirely been skinned. The painting, however, had different color hair. The painting had black hair. The flesh on the floor.
That's what she meant, is the body associated with the skin.
So then this body hanging from the ceiling could very well be Vernum. However, there's also this female elf that's also been skinned and placed here.
Whatever you found, take it, put it on you, and we'll go find Jhin. He'll know what to do. I asked her in a few minutes to go call the authorities so that it doesn't look like we, withheld anything. I don't know how that works here, but there's 3 strangers who just entered the city standing over a body right now. Or 2.
Nem, real quick, roll me an alchemy check.
Can do.
Nem, by the skin of your barbaric teeth.
Don't talk about skin right now.
Yeah, that's bad. That's bad word placement.
You're pretty sure that on your person, in one of your tinctures and alchemical reagents, that you have something that you could combine together that may make that page slightly more readable.
Okay. She'll relay that, but I think we should do it in private, maybe at the inn tonight.
Whatever this is, it's regarding the skull that the 2 brothers we met back in the caravan had said that they had touched. So whatever is happening, we need to figure this out and stay away from this skull.
Okay. Let's take what we have. If you want to look at anything else, we got to go though.
I don't think there's anything else to look at. I think the skin puzzle and
yeah, it's quite disgusting, but good job. It's cool. It looks great. We should go though.
It's gross.
I would take something out of Shale's bag and at least wipe my hands as best I can.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sure you have something in there that you use to wipe the blood off your hands.
I don't want to look full serial killer as we walk out of this building.
Yeah, that's fine. Where are you 3 headed?
We're going to go find Jhin. We were going to go look for him, I guess, back at the inn, because we were all going to meet up there, unless there's somewhere else the 2 of these guys want to go. I'll follow them.
Okay.
But we're going to tell the girl, we're going to look into this. We don't think it's him. We're going to get to the bottom of this, okay? Just hang tight and just cooperate with them, and, we'll be back.
Yeah, she is essentially inconsolable. She is, as soon as you say that we think it's not him, she breaks down crying, mostly mumbles through tears, trying to, it's not him, he's so scared. Inconsolable sobs, sort of like, we're gonna find it, what happened? It's just relatively awful to behold. You kind of make your awkward exit, telling her again to contact the authorities, as soon as you're gone. And you all head back towards the witch and familiar. Jhin.
Yes.
Your day is much more pleasant. No one's flayed in front of you. There are no skin puzzles, and you're mostly fine. You were looking for missions, essentially.
Missions, bounties, etc., etc.
Yeah.
To drum up money and dispense justice.
Sure. So, there are several jobs you could take. There are, first and foremost, you find that the most common and most lucrative and most dangerous job you can take is to get you that explorer's license and start delving into that forest. However, you find that there are things inside the palisade, the safety of the palisade, where it's just you and the flayer. You can take a guard job. In fact, there are several places in the Antiques Plaza that require guards because they sell fineries. There are warehouses where you could work and move things. There are several taverns in the Toad Square that they can be rough and tumble every once in a while. And someone of your size and skill level could act as a bouncer or guard. There are also several job postings or listings for recovering stolen merchandise in a city this large, this close to the forest, and this far from the civility of one of the larger cities. It's not uncommon for thieves to steal some shit. The town guard does what they can, but not everything gets found. So there is your standard array of rat catcher type things that you can do. However, the reason why there's like it's, if you ever go to like any of those places where like there's poster on poster on poster, it's kind of one of those, because all of the people that would normally take these kind of jobs are either guards and already have this job, or they have the same idea as gladiatorial combat is, if I'm going to risk breaking bones, I might as well risk it for untold riches as opposed to 10 thaler a month. So there's plenty of jobs you can take that can earn you keep here, as basically from the shopkeepers if you don't want to start your own store, or you can get your explorer's license and kind of go nuts. Sometimes literally.
At least thinking about my character, I don't think he'd be okay doing bish work.
Mm-hmm.
Like the rat catch stuff. So the explorer's license, while not necessarily dispensing justice, is
roll me a cunning.
Yeah. Chronicles. Why is this? There we go. Cunning. Oh.
Okay. You do hear one rumor around town. So, according to the Curia, which you know as like the governing body of the Sun Church, you kind of hear in passing between guards and maybe like a priest of Prios, that there is a man named Father Sarvallo. Who has he's been branded a heretic. He's been spreading false doctrine and dragging the sublime name of Prios through the gutters. The problem being that very few others seem to worry about the doings of this guy, and the rumor has it that there are a growing number of people that kind of agree with what he's saying, especially among like the goblins and barbarians of this area, because Prios isn't their god, really. So, essentially, there's not a whole lot the Curia can do. However, this guy is a thorn in their side and inconvenient. Essentially, he's hidden here in Thistle Hold, because there's no like Queen's Guard here, and he's not really causing any rabble rousing. He's just kind of being a nuisance. So while the church wants him taken care of or re-educated to the error of his ways, no one's really going after this guy because he's really just annoying at this point.
What would there be to gain from me aside from, the concept of him messing with Prios?
The church may look favorably on someone who, does something about their nuisance. There seems to be no monetary gain in it. It seems to be a church-related boon. Like the church may be more acquiescent to a favor in the future, or you may bring more favor on the Harengol name by aiding the church in this way.
Yeah. So, does it give me a lead on roundabout where I should start finding this guy?
It doesn't. It gives you a name, and that he is. So there is no it. You overhear this mostly.
Yeah.
Which is why there's no like monetary value to it. It's just people talking about how the church is, annoyed with this guy. They did mention that his word, like his works, are noted amongst the goblin and barbarians in the city. So your lead would be look to where they gather. You might find more information about that guy if you're interested. Which would, take some investigation on the city to find out where exactly the barbarians kind of, like what the tavern they go to, what tavern the goblins kind of go to, where in the city they stick around.
Okay. Yeah, so I guess I'll start on that course. I'll start looking through the taverns and trying to find people, trying to find the best way I can.
Okay. So you hear this information. So you find like a quest board essentially, right? And it's nothing to your liking. It's mostly like rat catcher stuff. It's mostly beneath your station. And you're sort of walking back, I would assume, towards the inn when you overhear these guards talking. Do you continue back to the inn, or do you go to like the tavern area, the Toad Square?
I hear them talking.
This is how you heard the information about this Father Servallo. The guards were talking about it.
Yeah, I'll go to the tavern then.
Okay, so you're going to head to Toad Square?
Yeah.
So you make it from the Queen Square all the way to the Toad Square, where there are several taverns located. What are you dressed like right now?
I'll be dressed in my petty clothes with the gambeson kind of underneath, but nothing super fancy.
Okay. And you're just kind of going tavern to tavern, or you're just kind of poking your head in and looking around these places?
Yeah, more or less.
Okay. Yeah, you go in one tavern, not really concerned with the names of them. You're just kind of looking for goblin and barbarian, patronage. And you find one. Like, none of these bars seem to be like barbarian exclusive, only goblins. But most of them have either a handful of each or neither. You do find one of the ones that has, a handful of each. There's like a few barbarians, and you notice that based on what they're dressed as, you see a few goblins like drinking with, like one of the goblins is drinking with the barbarians, and you know that a lot of the goblin forces were used to help build this place. Like a lot of the goblin workforces were helping build this place, and now it's not uncommon to see goblins and barbarians in exploring parties going into the Davokar, especially since both of them have better understandings of how light Davokar works. So you walk into one of these taverns that has a few barbarians and a smattering of goblins. What do you do?
I'd want to sit around the outside and get an idea for what's going on here before I just kind of go and start asking questions and such.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Roll me Vigilant.
Vigilant. Character Vigilant.
Okay, so there's a lot of like noise happening all around here, and you don't have a lot of experience in like detective kind of work, I would imagine. Okay. Mostly combat work. So you kind of like meander in here, intent to like grab some scoop, and you kind of sit Strider style, and you kind of like listen to what's happening in the room. I assume you order like an ale to not look too suspicious. Yeah. And what you hear is nothing but positive discussion. Like when you key in for this Servallo name to pop up, or father anything, or anything related to the Servallo guy, and when you hear something that pricks your attention, and you kind of like lean in to hear it. Everything sounds positive. They're talking about how this guy is preaching brotherhood and love and generosity, and that like togetherness and working together. And basically, what it sounds like is if the church says pushing into the Davokar and expanding the reach of Ambria is fulfilling Prios's demands or Prios's his tenets, this guy seems to be saying, no, let's not do that. We already have things here. We're fine. Why not? Let's just be friends. We have the goblin allies. We have our barbarian allies. We'll just get out of the forest. Instead of doing that, everyone seems to die when they go in there or turn into monsters. Leave the forest alone. The elves don't want us there. Let's just hang out. And you hear a lot of people that are like, oh, you know, I mean, it makes a lot of sense. Like, we didn't live there until the Ambrians came, and like the goblins want to get out of there, and the elves don't want us there. And like you hear like a lot of this like conversation going around.
A lot of people
it just seems like this guy just wants to promote togetherness and not going into dungeons and making monsters come out and fight you. Which, you know, unless you're super devout into Prios, that's like it's kind of besmirching what the priests say Prios wants. But to the people who aren't devoutly, proselytizing Prios, it makes a lot of sense. Maybe don't go in where the monsters are. Maybe just hang out here where the drinks are. Have a drink. Don't fight a monster. Fight each other. Better than fight monsters. So that's really all you hear in this tavern. It seems as though people are talking about this guy, and you find out more about what he's preaching.
Okay. Are there any of them who seem a little bit more, what's the word, educated?
Unfortunately, with that vigilant roll, you can't really tell. Also, do you have... So, you've had some dealings with barbarians. Would you think it would be enough to determine educated barbarians or not?
It's a toss-up, actually, I'd say.
Okay. Either way, in this circumstance, you don't notice anyone that seems to be any particularly more educated than any of the other ones, and I don't think you've had too much interaction with goblins. At least not unless they're at the other end of your glaive. So you really have nowhere to gauge on the intelligence of goblins. You know they're conniving and like tricksy, but as far as their intelligent level, you're not really sure educated wise. But yeah, that's what you get inside this tavern.
Okay. So would it be kosher? I'm just gonna walk up to one of the a barbarian and just start trying to talk.
Okay, yeah, sure. What do you say? He's probably at a table drinking with it and discussing things. I assume you walk up to one of the ones that's talking about this father.
Yeah. And I'd kind of sit down and be like, this father, he sounds. I hear a lot of him. He seems interesting.
They kind of look at you for a second, clearly noticing like your Ambrian descent. He says, "Yes, he is interesting. He preaches about togetherness and brotherhood and ending the expansion into Davokar. Everything makes sense. We have everything we need out here. If we could just broker an alliance between your people and our people, we could easily live in the plains. There's no reason to live in the forest. These last 20 years have been difficult."
I agree. I actually recently myself left my family. I was a member of the Harengol family, and the whole glory hound thing I decided was a bit beneath me. And this talk of togetherness and trust, it intrigues me. I'd like to meet the man behind the concept. Where might a fresh follower, a convert, travel? I'm lying, so if you want to call me for a cunning, I think that's fair.
Nah, it'd be,
Depending on how dumb these guys are.
Yeah, I don't think so. He looks to me and says, well, he preaches in the park every once in a while. That's the most common place that I've seen him. The Park of the Elders. Have you seen it?
I haven't actually.
Oh, well, if you cross the Toad Square where we are now, it is a road. If you cross the Toad Square, there's a road. You go all the way down the road, and you'll find the park. It's a large park. You can't miss it.
Wonderful. I thank you, my friends. I look forward to seeing you at the next meeting.
Yes. Well, as I said, it makes sense. Listen to what the words he preaches. Listen to him. Perhaps you can convince your friends to come.
Yes, I'll be listening and doing some convincing myself.
And he puts his hand out to you and he says, well, it's a good night to you, brother.
And he kind of looks down at the hand and looks at the guy, and the guy's not too clean, is he?
No. This isn't like a nice tavern. This is like people that go to the Davokar come to this tavern.
Kind of does that thing where he's like kind of sizing up the situation. He's like, yeah. And then he just shakes the guy's hand and then just quickly turns and walks.
Sure. Are you walking towards the park, or are you walking... Where are you going?
I'd be walking towards where the park and through and the direction that he pointed.
Okay. So you leave the tavern, and as you leave the tavern, you realize that it is slowly getting darker and darker, because you guys got here in mid-afternoon, and then began walking this massive city. So you start walking down these strange roads, attempting to find this park. Do you ask anyone, or you just kind of mill about until you find a park?
I would kind of mill about.
Okay.
Getting a lay of the land, so to say.
So you begin milling about. Until you reach. You head down this wide road until you reach this sort of like, I guess, clearing. Excuse me. You reach this clearing, and you see that there's like a gathering of people. Not so much gathered, but like a crowd kind of milling about in this area. Good area to canvas, possibly. But you hear a scream pierce the evening air, and you see a small woman running towards your direction, and she sort of like collides with you, not like full on, but she sort of like bumps your shoulder and enough to like spin her back, and she like is behind you, and she sort of like grabs onto you. Like you can tell that she's like terrified. She looks completely shaken, and she like panically says, "No, please save me! Don't let the witch hunters take me!" And she's like holding on to like the back of your shirt.
And he kind of like perks up a little bit, and can I make a check to just check the validity of what this lady's saying? If she's just trying to either pickpocket me or if she's the real deal?
Mm-hmm. Make a cunning check.
Fuck.
So you contemplate what the hell just happened as this lady spins around you, is behind you, and is kind of like holding on to you and like not so much pushing you forward, but like using you as a shield essentially. And you kind of like give her like a look of like, what the hell's happening? And like as you look back, you see that the crowd is beginning to part as several men in black leathers are marching out towards you, and they form like this half moon around you. All of them look to you, and the one in the center kind of points to you. He actually has his sword out, and he points his sword at you, and he says, "Hand over the abomination."
And he looks down to the lady, and then up to the witch hunter, and he's like, I wouldn't call that the appropriate term for this young lady.
Well, this young lady behind you is the Flayer.
And he looks down at her. And then back to them. Is there anyone who can check eyes in this this area? Because I think you may be a little off.
Well, you see, that is the problem with corruption. It's a sickness that hides where no one expects it.
He kind of like does the thing that he's thinking. Okay. What evidence do you have to her guilt?
Her neighbor accused her of witchcraft.
Is it really that easy nowadays?
Have you seen the flayed bodies?
Oh, I have indeed. I've heard of them, rather. Some of your friends in passing, I suppose. Is it really just on recommendation that you'll think somebody is a flayer? How many recommendations have you had in the last week or two? I imagine this has been going on for some time.
Just the one.
Just the one. How would you tell if she was the flayer?
We would bring her back to the Black Cloak.
And what would they do there?
I assume kill her, if I had to be honest with you.
I appreciate your honesty, perhaps a bit too blunt, especially with the young lady right here, but we are men of honor, aren't we?
Well, she ran for a reason.
I think you know when a witch hunter comes for you, your death is it not reasonable and expected?
Yes.
Have you ever not killed somebody you've apprehended?
No.
Then would you run if they came for you?
Yes. No, that we agree.
We agree. Oh, that is wonderful. So we're at an impasse here. I don't want to give you the girl, but I'm not really in the. And he thinks for a second. He was gonna say he's not really in the shape, and he's like, no. I don't want to give you the girl, and I'd like to see justice brought. I am a member of the Harengol family, and that is kind of what we do. We have to figure this out. Is there any way to test her? Any way at all? Any of the malarkey, the magics?
We don't practice magics. You can give us the girl, and we'll bring her to the Black Cloak Bar Mellow, or you'll be branded a heretic yourself.
The Black Cloak Bar Mitzvah, what?
You can make a cunning check if you like.
Hey, I succeeded on that one.
You recognize the name Bar Mitzvah. You recognize the name Barmello. He is a famous witch hunter, a famous Black Cloak. You know that Lestra was also a Black Cloak. That is the militant arm of the church.
Yeah.
The Black Cloak Barmello is a famous witch hunter and an extremely thorough and violent one, having destroyed entire towns to get to the witches he's been after.
Huh.
Mm-hmm. He is skilled and dangerous.
Huh. That doesn't sound good.
I mean, your suspicions are perfectly fine. You do recognize the name once they drop it. You can tell that they dropped it after you dropped the Harengol name.
Like as a tit for tat kind of thing. Yeah.
Your social nuances grant you that much. That as soon as you drop that name, they dropped another also big name.
So, I guess if my social nuances go to some extent, I know that they're going to try and kill her pretty much without really any due course, right?
They seem to want to bring her back to the witch hunter, but you assume that ultimately he's going to kill her.
Is it unheard of for people to have audiences of the witch hunter and try to give a trial of a sorts?
In general, no. This guy, yeah.
Enjoy your stay.
This guy is he's kind of adamant about what he does, and he puts abominations to death. And anyone practicing witchcraft, he deems as an abomination. I mean, obviously, if they're accused of practicing witchcraft and being the Flayer, that's sort of,
Yeah. All right. So at this point, then, I don't think.
Moral quandary.
Yeah, because I believe in the church, but I also don't want this random young lady to just get fucking gibbed by the church.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me, are you willing to deal with me? And by deal, I mean make an arrangement.
What kind of arrangement?
Before I offer this, I just want to know how above board is it. Can members of the church generally be bribed?
I mean, everyone has a price. You're in public, and you announced your name, so you may have some hesitations to then attempt to bribe an official in public.
Yep.
But that's entirely up to you whether you do that or not.
So I look around. I'm like, can I meet you halfway? I'll leave her there for a moment, and if she runs, you can kill her. But I want to speak with you privately, just in the middle. His weapon is, he has it. It's like
he had it pointing at you. Actually, he had it out.
Yeah. Is that fair? Can we please have a sidebar?
He steps forward, and the other four sort of fan out a little bit, kind of closing in a circle.
And I'll kind of like I'll gingerly walk over, and kind of raise my hands and be like, "Now are we at a measure of privacy?"
I mean, there's still people around you. Like this, you have like a 5, maybe 10-foot bubble, but you've drawn a crowd, and these are Barmello's men, and people want to see an execution because that's all there is to do around here.
Yeah.
And they said the Flayer, and he's been flaying people, so they want to see the Flayer killed as well.
All right. Yeah. What I'm gonna end up doing basically is just I can whisper and I can feel confident that not a lot of people are listening.
Yeah.
And hear me, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That's more sort of what I'm concerned about.
Yep. With a whisper, you can feel confident about that.
And so I'll tell him basically, I don't believe she is the Flayer. You believe she is. We're at an impasse. I don't want to deal with Barmello. I imagine he's not a man who would like to deal with this. He has better things on his plate. How about this? You leave her to me. If the killings continue, you know me, you know my family. You can besmirch me. You can kill me along with her. Or I'll hunt it down. But all I ask is you look the other way, and I'll make it worth your while.
Roll me persuasive.
Persuasive. Yeah.
Wow.
Throw in a blowjob and it's a deal.
He
Flayer girl,
leans
get
in.
over here.
He leans in towards your whisper, and he says, "What coin do you have on your belt?"
I found it increasingly expensive to be here and pay for me and my companions. I have 5 thaler currently with me, all yours.
Man, that's a...
And the good word
I'd like a
of
horse.
a Harengol. No.
He doesn't actually say that. He doesn't say that.
I would hit him.
He doesn't actually say that. So you offer him 5 thaler and
5 thaler and the good word put in with my family.
Oh man.
So pretty much just 5 thaler.
So yeah, I was gonna say it's pretty much just 5 thaler. You know that much. He looks to you and like glances down at the belt pouch you have that is rather empty. He says, "I entertained your ruse for a bit, but I have a counter offer. You keep your 5 thaler, Harengol. You walk that way. And he motions behind him, and myself and the rest of Barmelo's men don't kill you as a heretic for protecting what we believe to be the Flayer before she escapes. And he's like watching her over your shoulder.
Well, you're just not working with me. There's got to be some give and take here. What's your counter offer? Your real counter offer?
You are taking and giving none. You want us to look aside in public for what we accuse as the Flayer and offer me 5 thaler and the word of your house? You realize we work directly for the Black Cloaks.
If I were to make it even sweeter, say I were to...
Give me a horse.
Say I were to bring this Flayer in myself. Lock her up, please. Do not touch a hair on her head. And I'll bring you this Flayer within a week. You can take a day off. You can take a day off for each death that happens.
So let me get this right. You want to lock her up where?
I want to lock her up either under my protection or a neutral party's protection. However that might be, get the mayor involved. If we're just spitballing.
Okay.
And basically, every time somebody dies, I get a day off of my time to find them. If I don't find them at that point, then I can be held liable.
He leans into your counteroffer and he says, "Interesting proposal. You put the girl in custody. You have 5 days. For every murder that happens on your watch in these 5 days, you lose 1 day.
Not counting the ones that have happened today.
Correct.
I imagine it's running rampant.
If you do not find this Flayer in the amount of time, we'll kill you."
He thinks about it, and then he thinks about how confident he is in himself, and he extends his hand.
He shakes your hand and begins to push past you and leave. You now have this cowering young woman behind you as the crowd looks around, confused about what's happening. You hear some rabble happening behind him. Is she the Flayer? She's too small to be the Flayer. It's just a woman. And there's a bunch of murmurings.
And I'll raise my voice. Yes, far too small. An innocent woman, but we are working on clearing her name. I will bring the Flayer to justice personally.
Everyone's who's this guy? More murmuring happens. And as you kind of grab the hand of this woman and bring her wherever you're bringing her under your custody, as the crowd is murmuring about Barmelo and the Flayer and this new person challenging the Flayer, that's where we'll end tonight's session. Everyone confused, human skin puzzles, a Flayer girl, misty bits. So guys, that was episode 3, A Brush with Darkness. We'll be back next Sunday for more Symbaroum. You guys can find episode 1 and 2 on YouTube if you have not seen them already. Also, we have, I think, only 2 more days left of the giveaway. If you guys want to jump in and play Symbaroum in your own home or in your own Roll20 window, you guys can by typing in !giveaway in the chat here. We're giving away 3 copies of the PDF Starter Bundle, which comes with the Advanced Player's Guide, the core rulebook, and a map set for all these fanciful maps you see on screen currently right now. So let's go around and discuss with our players and their characters what they thought of tonight and who the hell they are. So, we'll go to Kyle. Kyle, who are you? What are you doing here? And what did you think of the wonderful Thistle Hold?
I'm Kyle Benevides. I played Jhin Harengol. Jhin likes to dispense justice and, not have people killed for no reason if he can help it, unless they're a goddamn dirty traitor. So he wanted to save that lady because he kind of felt compelled to. And
enjoy your stay.
Yeah, I am doing nothing here because I am a useless lump.
You are a useless lump. That's fair. Shale, Mr. Bitters, who are you? What are you doing here? And what did you think of the wonderful city of Thistle Hold?
I am Mr. Bitters. I hate everything. I'm supposed to moderate around here, much like Kyle. I've got a case of the lumps. And Thistle Hold, it's growing on me. At least it's got like flayed people and betrayal and all kinds of awkward stares.
Yeah, it's something new, for sure.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, I'm glad you're liking it, man. We'll jump over to our crack scene investigator, Hello Sweetie, who pieced together a human puzzle today. Who are you? What are you doing here? And what did you think of that bloody, disgusting scene and getting your hands dirty?
I'm Hello Sweetie 82, and I do weird things on the internet on my Twitch channel.
And mine, apparently.
Yeah, and yours. So I pieced together an elf skin today, like it was a goddamn floor puzzle. And I looked at a dead man's penis. So, all in all, I'd say it was a real good day. I'm real fucking confused. I'm covered in dead person disgustingness, and I have no idea what's going on.
Mm-hmm. Good.
Real good.
I'm glad. Mr. Ninja, you got all the things you wanted and more today. Who are you? What are you doing here? And what did you think of Thistle Hold?
I'm Jhin. I run a gaming channel, some D&D, some other stuffs. I didn't get everything I wanted. I wanted to talk to the guy and get some insight as to healing.
Well,
But he was a bit flayed at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe next time, can't win them all.
Yep.
But I got more arrows, so I can miss more targets.
Yeah. So win-win all around, I think, really.
And I saved Kyle.
You did.
True.
You did save Kyle. That's true.
I mean, he's kind of a douche, but we need him. So
I mean, he just avoided getting killed by 5 guys because he went off by himself. So I mean, success all around for everybody today.
safety in numbers, people.
I
Yeah.
don't know if he went off by himself so much as we just kind of left him to do the shopping.
Yeah.
I mean, he's Mr. Moneybags. He's already said that. We tried to give him money, and he's just like,
Tomato, tomato. So guys, this has been unMadeGaming here on the Symbaroum game, episode 3. Like I said, 1 and 2 are on YouTube. You guys can check those out. On Tuesday, we'll be returning for more Curse of Strahd, where you can see Mr. Bitters. On Wednesday, we'll be returning for the season finale of Blades in the Dark, 6 and 20. And on Thursday, we'll be back for Havoc in the Hinterlands. The week after that, I will be, and Mr. Ninja will be, and Hello Sweetie will be, and Kyle will be at PAX Unplugged. So if you guys are going to be in the Philadelphia area at PAX Unplugged, or just hanging out, feel free to shoot us a message and join our Discord, or hit us up on Twitter, because that's where we'll be, doing all kinds of sweet, nerdy gaming stuff. So you guys can check us out there. And with that, we're going to go host our friend Henley, who is playing some Torchbearer with a buddy of ours, Eric Vulgaris, who is a really rad dude. So go check him out and give him all your hot, sticky raid love, if I can spell raid correctly. And from all of us to you guys, bye-bye.